स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे, भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
Cherry red, matcha roses that you left. No remorse, no regret. I forgive every word you said. I didn't wanna leave, baby. I didn't wanna fight. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you don't.
Introducing Your Trauma Talks, an incredible new series that brings live conversations with individuals who share your resilience and understand your story. Join us as we dive deep into the realm of mental health, exposing the truth behind the challenges these remarkable individuals have faced. Discover how you have overcome adversity as these incredible souls take the stage in New York City, sharing their inspiring stories with everyone. Experience the power of Your Trauma Talks on Trauma Talks Thursdays, live as we bring you face to face with individuals who have triumphed over their trauma and come out stronger on the other side. Hear their raw and honest accounts of their struggles and how they have found healing and hope in the midst of pain. Don't miss out on this rare opportunity to connect with those who truly understand what you are going through. Join us for an unforgettable evening every Thursday of sharing, support, and solidarity as we come together to break the stigma surrounding mental health. Experience the magic of Your Trauma Talks live in New York City, where compassion and courage converge to create a space of healing and empowerment. It's time to speak up, listen, and learn from those who have walked a similar path. As I said, I don't compare myself to anyone. See, because I always think it could have been worse.
And from that vibration, you can start to bring it in. Because it's the emotion that brings it into you.
Here's
It's that
what shocked
feeling.
me the most. The greatest battle wasn't only in my body, it was really in my heart.
My grandfather was everything to me. I accepted him as my dad because he was tangible. I can touch him. I can love him. He can love on me. So I didn't feel so bad not knowing my biological father because my grandpa was always there.
Happiness is not a destination. For me, 2025 was a year of mixed emotions: love, loss, faith, doubt, hope, disappointment.
One day I was in church and I was sitting there and they played this song. It's called Nobody by Casting Crowns. And it kept saying, I'm just a nobody, telling everybody about somebody.
It's called Finding Order and Disorder, named after my book and my podcast.
You have to pull everything from your inner strength to getting clear in intention.
But when it was time for me to study for the lieutenant's exam, it was always the fear.
Now, there are 4 types of traumas that I'm going to probably touch upon today. You have emotional, physical, sexual, and we have environmental.
I gave my Josh talk and I got 10-20 messages that, oh my God, we are living in a relationship like this since 40 years and we could not recognize it.
Let's call trauma by its name. Let's call abuse by its name. Let's start this.
Rahul K. Maharaj immigrated from Trinidad and Tobago nearly 23 years ago. He currently resides in Queens, New York. 5 years ago, he created Your Life Experiences with Rob, a social media platform that allows everyone to share real stories about overcoming the pitfalls of life. Rahul is the author of Untold Stories, Hidden Truths, and Melly and the Pandemic. Ra is also a great friend of mine, and he has been very, very supportive from the day that we met. He's an empathic person, and he always wishes the best for everybody, and he really means it. You know how it's great to just get well wishes. That's beautiful. But Ra goes above and beyond, and I'm sure he doesn't just do that with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rahul K. Maharaj.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Forgive Yourself, our 9th Mental Health Conference. You know what is nice about what he just said? Everything he said it at our very first Mental Health Conference in March of 2023. We're in March of 2026. It's the 28th of March. And those listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, on Amazon, on Apple iTunes, wherever you're listening to this podcast from, I want you to stay tuned today. And I want you to know what it is like to forgive yourself from these amazing souls. Allow others to hear this today. And also, let someone that you care about deeply, that kind of give up on, let them hear this, because they need to go back and reflect and forgive themselves. Today, as we start, I want to do this right now and bring up the amazing Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez to lead us with a prayer.
Good morning. It is truly an honor to join you today at the Forgive Yourself 9th Mental Health Conference Speaker Spotlight. Mental health is not just a personal journey, it's a human rights issue. And today, as we gather in unity and purpose, let us open our hearts to healing, strength, and renewal. Please join me now in a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together today in a spirit of healing, reflection, and hope. We hope not as perfect. We gather not as perfect people, but as people on a journey, seeking peace within ourselves and strength for one another. Lord, teach us the power of forgiveness, especially the courage to forgive others. Help us release guilt, shame, regrets, and the burden we sometimes carry in silence. Replace them with your grace, your compassion, and your light. Bless every speaker, every listener, every heart present today. Let this conference be a safe place of restoration, understanding, and renewal of the mind and spirit. Remind us that our struggles do not define us. Our resilience does. Strengthen those facing anxiety, depression, grief, trauma, and uncertainty. Surround them with your support, wisdom, and love. Let today be the turning point where healing begins and hope arises. As we continue to work our mental health advocacy and compassion, both in our communities and globally, guide us to be instrument of encouragement for women, children, and families everywhere. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of purpose, and the gift of another chance to begin again. In faith, strength, and unity, Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. And thank you so much for that. Wow, that was a blessing. At this point in time, you did such a great job. I would love to give you the stage so you can tell us about Forgive Yourself. Everyone, the amazing Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. You know, I have spent the past 2 decades at the United Nations advocating for women, children, families, including mental health awareness. As a chaplain on the United Nations platform, you run into stories every day, trauma stories, war stories, stories of abuse. But the most important story is your own story. You have to start first with yourself. It has to be you. You have to be that person. My journey has been a rocky one. My starting point was incredibly painful. As most of you may or may not know, I wrote a book called A Child of a Child, and it's my own story because I was born to a 12-year-old mother, a child raising a child. So by the age of 9, I was homeless, living in the streets. And sometimes you form opinions of what's happening around you, especially if those opinions are abusive, involve an abusive situation, hurtful situation, emotional situation. And then you tend to label everyone that's around you that you think is responsible for the pain in your heart. But I learn the meaning of forgiveness. I learn as I grew, I learned what it means to forgive yourself. Today, I have written another book called The Caregiver. And writing that book brought a lot of things to light. I realized that everyone out there is struggling with some form of emotional battle that is unseen to the other person. So the journey has to begin with you. It has to begin with you. It has to begin with you. My journey of forgiving myself took me to a place that I couldn't see myself being there, which is here. It brought me to this place. When I learned how to forgive myself, I was able to write my book. I was able to accomplish certain things in my life that I didn't think was possible because I realized that, hey, you actually have a right to be here. You are a gift. You are supposed to shine. Allow yourself to shine. Forgive yourself. Forgive those around you. Let go of the painful, hurtful things because life moves forward. Sometimes I says, I wonder if I could freeze this moment and I could wait till tomorrow to continue. But guess what? Life doesn't wait on me. I cannot freeze this moment. Whatever it is I have to do, I have to do. This morning I got up like 5:30 and I lay in my bed and I started to go through things I have to do today. And I said, my goodness, I want to stay in bed all day today. I don't want to get up. I don't want to participate. Maybe I could put these things off. But guess what? I couldn't put these things off because time does not stand still and wait on you. So if you do not forgive yourself so that you could move forward, think about how much you're going to be missing. Think about all the wonderful, wonderful things that life has in store for you that you would be missing out on. When I was so angry with myself, I wouldn't attend certain events. I wouldn't talk to certain people. I got so hostile within myself because I labeled myself. I blamed myself for things that I had no control over, things that I could not avoid, things that I didn't willingly participated in. I was just a victim. And I couldn't understand that until I decided to forgive myself. When I decided to forgive myself, then I could look into all of these traumas in my life and realize that I was a victim, that I didn't cause this, that I wasn't the person that instigate this, that these was just a part of my journey that I had to go through for whatever reason. And so I have to look at it in a sense where I use it as a bridge. I use it as a ladder. I use it to educate and evolve to a different place. But forgiveness is the biggest part of of every kind of nurturing, every kind of cultivation, you know, that you can cultivate yourself to a better place. It has to start with forgiveness. If you do not forgive yourself, you cannot move forward. You cannot claim that beautiful place, they call it the light, that shines on you. You cannot allow that light to shine on you. You know, I have learned along the way that as I forgive myself, I'm able to forgive others. I'm able to step out and take my space, occupy my presence in this world. You know, I'm able to acknowledge the fact that I'm a gift, that I'm supposed to be here, and I'm supposed to shine, and I'm supposed to do and be my best, because the world that I live in, I am not going to be a victim in this world. I'm a gift to this world. My story is such a heartbreaking story, like millions of other women out there, you know, born to a young mother who was a child herself, not having the nurturing, caring platform to develop, having to develop myself. But I realized at a very young age that the most important thing that we have, the most dangerous weapon that we have, is our voice. But we never use it. We never use it. We do not use it on that platform that we need to, because of trauma, because of abuse, because of fear, because of cultural norms, because of social norms, because of mental issues, because of so many different things. But if we can just learn how to use that voice, use it. If we can learn how to use it, and platform such as this platform gives us the encouragement and builds us up in a way where we can use it. I truly, truly believe that exposure, education, mental health education on platforms such as this is very powerful, because many times you sit in the dark and you reserve yourself to a place where there is no light, and then you jump into a platform such as this and you realize that, hey, I don't need to be backstage. I could sit up front. I could take my position at the table. I could let my voice be heard, because guess what? I have forgiven myself and I am no longer a victim. And so I could step up and claim my space and claim my spotlight and claim my own right to exist as a gift. You know, on my platform, my advocacy at the United Nations exposes us to many, many forms of trauma. I've encountered victims of war, women and girls. I've encountered marginalized community where women are abused by cultural norms. And it has brought so many different levels of abuse where women feel guilty and women don't know how to forgive themselves. They don't know how. Forgiveness is not even written in the script that's given to them, because they are I would say they're given the label that they are the cause of the trauma in their life, that they're the cause that these things are happening. And so it's really an important journey to go on that platform to forgive yourself. It's important to know that it doesn't matter what has happened. It's the worst possible trauma in your life has happened, that you have the right and the privilege. It's a human right issue to forgive yourself. You're supposed to be able to enjoy the benefit of being alive. Many of us, because we don't forgive ourselves, we exist, but we're not alive. We don't live. We don't live. We just exist. You know, when I learned to forgive myself, I've traveled to 68 countries. I've met so many people that I couldn't dream of this journey that I'm on. I couldn't dream of this journey that I am. When I started to write my first book, Child of a Child, it took me 5 years to finish that book, because the first 3 months in writing that book, I realized that I didn't forgive myself. I realized that, so I got stuck. And I had to go and get counseling to learn that I need to forgive myself before I could finish that book. So it took me 5 years on that journey. But once I learned that, how to forgive myself and to forgive myself, then I finished my book. I just finished my second book, The Caregiver, and I in a better place, such a better place. So I want to say thank you, Raul. Thank you so much for creating this platform for people like me and for millions and millions of other people like me, just like me, who need a place to come and say that, hey, you're okay. You're beautiful. You're a gift. Forgive yourself. Move on. The world is yours. This is your platform. You know, go ahead. Shine. Thank you for allowing me to shine.
Wow. Beyond beautiful. You know, like the little time that I know you from September of 2025 to now, and I listen to you and I understand you more and more. You really touch me and make me to understand that the pathway that I am on is really the right way. And this, by saying this, you would hear later on in my story. And I hope I get to say it before you go. So about this time, I want to bring everyone else up who is backstage at this time, who is joining us for this conference, to have a conversation and ask a question to the amazing Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez. And by me saying this, I want to start introducing all her colleagues on here tonight. We have the amazing Yvonne Chodson joining us. We have Nina V. Garza. We have the amazing Dr. Nimpu Kamu Hall, all the way from Florida. And we have the beautiful and talented Lindsay. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm happy to jump in with a question that's burning for me. Dr. Monica, do you think your forgiveness of the trauma in your life could have happened without that counselor?
That's a tricky question. Maybe it could have, but my trauma was so embedded deep down within me that I had blocked it out. I didn't realize that that I had so much trauma. It's not until I started writing my book that I had to then recall. When I wrote the book Child of a Child, I had to go back to document my journey. And when I went back, I couldn't recall certain aspect of my life. And so I started, I was advised, because I had a coach at the time, and I was advised to sit down and go through each period. And then as I did that, and I started recalling, I fell apart. I was a mess. I was so traumatized. I cried and cried, and I was always in this sad place where I couldn't realize that someone had gone through so much trauma. So I would say no, I had to have counseling because it taught me that, hey, you were not responsible for this trauma in your life, that you were a victim. And I think sometimes it's very difficult for us to understand that we are victims without getting that outside point of view to say to you, hey, listen, look, no, don't let those things run around in your head and say, hey, somehow, some way I am the cause of this. Is because no. You have to have that outside interference. And that's what the counseling does. At least it did that for me.
Thank you. That's my experience as well. And I think what we need to remember is we don't need to have someone with a degree, but we need to have someone outside us who can see us, who can help us go back and know, like Dr. Monica is saying, it wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. You are innocent. You are clean. You are good. You are pure. And like Dr. Monica said, you deserve to be here. You deserve to shine. So I think the role that every person can take is to know that you can open, unfold, and heal that someone who might be stuck in their darkness. So thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Monica.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to ask a question? All right.
I have question for Dr. Monica. Do you think that forgiveness it's a part human nature, or it is something outside what brought by society?
I think society has tried to bury the forgiveness because of social norms. But I think forgiveness is something that we just have to develop it. We have to cultivate it. I think we have to be encouraged to develop it. It's something that we all have, but it's never something that's developed. You know, it's never something that's cultivated. So I think that we need to be encouraged to cultivate the art of forgiveness. And I think that's where, that's why society set up churches or religious institutions, so we can be exposed to those who have forgive and those who did sacrifice and then got to the point of forgiveness. And I'm referring to some of the religious prophets that we have, that we hear stories of them. And most of the stories teaches us that they learn how to forgive. So I think forgiveness is something that has to be cultivated within the society.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez, you never fail to, shine some light on any sort of darkness going wrong. Trust me when I tell you that, especially when it comes to my life. From the very first moment I met you, you treated me with love, and thank you for doing that. And she don't do that with myself alone. And trust me, when I talk about practice what you preach, so far I've seen her doing exactly what she speaks of. So think about me, a stranger she's meeting for the first time. The love she shows me on the first day continues. And that is something I love to do myself. You have to be able to be that same face that person saw the first time. Do not change within the time. So I love that, and she teach you how nicely to forgive yourself. So I would love to, at this moment, quickly, I want you all to tell everyone quickly, as I love how you all love to do this at the beginning, run through the room and say where you are speaking to them from and bringing a beautiful message in 30 seconds, starting with Dr. Monica Sanchez. Tell them where you are right now.
Well, I'm in the capital of the world, New York. I'm in Queens, New York. Queens for Queens.
Love it. I'm
Yvonne?
I'm in the capital of stories from the heart, Hollywood, California.
Lindsay?
I guess I'm in the capital of the woods over here in Pennsylvania.
Love it. Beautiful. Dr. Nimpu?
Well, I am in Florida, the most joyous place to be during the winter seasons.
Jealous. All right. The amazing Nina V. Garza.
I'm from Monterey, California, and you will be jealous. We have best weather in the world. Never cold, never hot. Always beautiful spring.
Wow, beautiful. So we have some amazing people in here today. You have just heard from the amazing, talented, sweet, and loving Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez. And you think about, if This Is the Soul is at the UN, we know that there's always going to be the best fight for the peace of human beings. And she fights for human rights. This is something. At this point, let's do this. All of us, especially you, Dr. Monica Sanchez, give yourself a pat on the back and tell yourself, thank you. Thank you for bringing you from yesterday to today, because that was a task. Thank you, that person that you can see in the mirror from inside, not that mirror that everyone looks at, but the mirror that reflects from in here. Tell that you, I love you. That is how you keep moving further. You have to love you to keep loving everyone around you. So at this time, let's do this, my amazing people. You know, we're supposed to have the beautiful, the talented Dr. Tash Reddy here with us today. But she had a little bit of a heart surgery and she would not be here. Well, I think for you, beautiful ladies, she is backstage to support, but she can't come online. But here's what she did. She sent a little message for all our amazing rosters, as well as all of you.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Forgive Myself, the Mental Health Conference in March. It's such an honor for me to be part of this conference and to have everyone join in and tell us their stories from around the world of why they had to forgive themselves and what the turning point in their life was for them to reach that point. I apologize that I'm not actually in the conference. I'm actually in ICU after having heart surgery. So yes, I look better than I'm supposed to, but I'm also recovering and I'm doing well so far. One of the things that I had in this time in ICU was time to reflect and time to think about all the reasons why I had to forgive myself. And 3 years ago, I had a turning point in my life, and that came after my husband left me for my best friend. I was left in extreme debt. He refused to pay for anything or to have anything to do with kids. He asked for a paternity test, and he asked for, said that he doesn't want to see them or have anything to do with them. So I had to leave my home and go move in with my mom. And while I was there, I attempted suicide. and it was not nice. And while I was again sitting in ICU there, like I'm sitting here, I realized that I had not shown up for my kids. I had not, for years, I didn't even show up for him for years because I was in a constant state of denial and inaction, not wanting to accept, a constant state of bargaining, a constant state of not wanting to see the reality, a constant state of accepting things I shouldn't accept, a state of being completely invalidated and accepting it and believing that everything will be okay, tomorrow will be different. And so while I was trying to build the perfect home and the perfect family, I was actually breaking it because it was not stable. And now when I look at my kids and how they're thriving, I realize that having one safe parent is better than having two who are actually so broken. So I made a promise to myself. I started to forgive myself for not showing up, for accepting the things I did, and for not changing the things that I accepted. So I made a promise to myself to change what I could change, to not accept things that were outside my value system and outside my worth, to make sure that I came first, because how I responded to myself and the world would be how my children responded to them. And it took a process, it took a while. I would say that for me it took over a year because I spent 20 years living in a conditioned state of mind of accepting things. So it took me about a year to forgive myself, but I promise you, forgiving yourself is the most important thing you can do for anyone, especially you, because you will then give them the best version of you. So start your process of forgiving yourself. Much love from me, Dr. Tash Reddy, to everyone at the conference, and I give you love and light. Bye.
Ain't that something? You think about this, right? She's there in the hospital and she's sending us love and sending all of you the encouragement that you need to carry on, to forgive yourself, to actually say, hey, yes, I was wrong. Oh, maybe, however, the story unfolds, as you would hear when I do my talk, it basically comes down to how you handle by letting go. Any one of you want to cares to share some love, Dr. Tash Reddy, as she's sitting backstage with you?
I just want to say, Dr. Tash, you're so brave to let us see you in such vulnerability in the hospital with your bedding around you, and still to come here and share your heart with us. Moving to have you speak, and your courage in doing that really lifts us all up. So your forgiveness of you helps us know that however we show up, we feel those around us. Thank you for what you just did.
I want to congratulate you too. I am one of those people who believe in having my vulnerability exposed, because I think when you do that, it shows that you are forgiving yourself. It shows that you are telling others that if I can be vulnerable, you can be vulnerable, and it's okay. So I am so happy to see you. And I wish you a speedy recovery. I know what it feels like because I have 2 stents in my heart. And Rahul may not tell you, I am on my 15-day journey of radiation treatment, which started 3 days ago. So I'm only 3 days into 15 days. And so, yes, I understand. So I applaud you. Strong woman.
Wow, Dr. Kashi, I say congratulations to your courage to be in the ICU bed, looking refreshed. You did make it to give us your words of encouragement today, and also those who are listening. And as a healthcare professional, I do know what it has to take you to be able to record your voice, your face, and just the strength to go through with it and have it, air out today. Open heart surgery is not something that you just whip out of it and get on a video call. So thank you so much for coming through and allowing us to hear your story, even the IT event. Thank you. May God bless you and heal you and get you out of there because you have a lot of work to do for you.
All right. So right about now, I'll put everyone backstage and we will do this. So we have heard 2 people, 2 human beings on this earth that stands for humans in many different ways. And you heard one thing from them in common: how they forgive themselves. This is what this mental health conference today, our 9th mental health conference, is happening today. And it's about forgiving yourself. It's called Forgive Yourself. When I thought about the name, and just to invite you right now to our next mental health conference happening on April 25th, April 25th, our next mental health conference, our 10th mental health conference, is acceptance. So, if you follow our mental health conferences, we are actually helping you for free to change your mindset, to accept change, to love yourself, to believe in yourself, to forgive yourself, and to accept yourself. And these are how the mental health conferences have been unfolding. And it all unfolds on June 11th at the Palladium Times Square on Broadway in New York City, where we bring it live, in person, resilience, a mental health conference allowing you to know you are not alone. There, we will hear some amazing people, some amazing souls, angels on this earth. We just hear the amazing Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez, who will be present there. Together with her, she just spoke about how this is her 3rd day of radiation. Yesterday, I had the honor of being on the phone with Paul Anthony, the legend himself. And this man told me something that really touched me, because I ask all the times. I say to people like Dr. Tash or Dr. Monica, I says, how? I don't want it to happen to me, because those are things I think about, because I know when I had back pain, how bad it was, and how I don't want to end up in certain places, why I don't want surgery, what it does to me mentally. But you have these people, especially yesterday when Paul Anthony was telling me He says when he went to the doctor and was diagnosed for the 3rd time with cancer, and what the doctor was telling him and what he was saying, I was like, wow, that is faith. That is belief. That is what he have overcome with every single new struggle. And this is why we do these conferences, so you would understand you are not alone. And we come together with people like the 5th president of Trinidad and Tobago, Anthony Carmona, and don't talk about 3-time Grammy winner Jerry Wonder, joining us on stage with the governor of the Grammys in the Philadelphia chapter, Rob Swartz. We have the amazing, talented Prince Mario Max, actual Prince, is going to be here on stage live to share their stories. Along with, we have heard her, Jasmine Mickey. You have heard her. 2 months ago, she came on this conference and she told her story of that's it. She was gone and she came back because you know why? She has a purpose. Just like you have a purpose. So this part was to invite everyone to get on Ticketmaster, look up Resilience, and get your tickets now. It's limited tickets. And there's some meet and greet where you get a photo up with some of these amazing, talented people. And guess what? For the 4th time, as we're on Broadway in Times Square, guess who is our host? The amazing, the talented. He's an actor. He's a Billboard artist. He is LeVary. Yes, yes, yes. You might think, what is he talking about? He's put in a mental health conference on a theater on Broadway? No way. How is he going to do that? Guess what? All you need to do is come out and see. Be inspired. Get healed. You have song therapy with a story live on a Broadway stage by the amazing Sound Empress herself, Susie. Can't beat. Listen, you got to be there. So right about this time, I want to do this. I am excited to hear this person. And, you know, sometimes we have a guest and you listen, you know you're excited about the guest, but sometimes you have another person who you just a little more super excited about. And this person is none other than the amazing Yvonne Chosen. She's an award-winning Hollywood producer and storytelling strategist who helps individuals turn their personal stories into power. She brings perspective, identity, and truth to all of you. Ladies, gentlemen, my rosters, I give to you the amazing Yvonne Chosen.
Thank you so much, Ra. It's a joy to be here and to be in the company of such esteemed participants. It's really fun, and we all grow from each other and from our stories. Picture a little girl. She's about 5 years old. She's wearing little red corduroy pants, little dusty tennis shoes, when her mom drops her off at what the mom believes is a trusted neighbor, a grandfatherly trusted neighbor. What ensues behind those closed doors will forever change the life of that child, because the little girl is taken upstairs. The gentleman, whose name is Clark Sherman, says in a deep voice to that 5-year-old, "Get on the bed. This isn't going to hurt you." The little girl is pushed onto the bed, and those little red corduroy pants are roughly pulled down. And what happens next pierces her with pain. Blood runs down her legs, and she screams. And when it's over, he says to her, pulling up his own pants, "You're a dirty girl. You're a dirty girl. And if you ever tell what happened to you, I will come and I will kill you. I will kill your brothers and sisters, and I will kill your parents. And so that little girl never said anything to her mom when she was picked up from that babysitter. And in the 3 years that he was around the little girl's family, she watched him in terror, sometimes standing in the curtains in her own house as he was left to babysit her other siblings. But she was too scared to speak. And years passed when she did not have a voice, when she could not speak, when she was silent. She was a good girl. She did what she was told. And one day, a gifted therapist, as the doctor shared in the last story, a gifted therapist can change your life. That little girl was me, and the therapist I had pushed me down on the bed and said, I'm not going to hurt you. And in that moment, years of occluded memories swept away, broke open. And that gifted counselor enabled me not only to remember exactly what happened, but to scream out my terror and my fear and my pain. And so I ended up, once I was able to express, after, as Dr. Tash said, it took her a year of working with her memories, of working with the abuse that had happened to her to forgive herself. But I clearly saw that my mission at that point was not just to forgive myself, to become a voice for others. I went to law school with the support of that knowledge. I continued counseling and working with that gifted therapist and became a federal public defender. And for a decade, I was in court. And in the federal public defender system, you are sitting in your office one moment, and the next moment you get a call. There's been an arrest. Send the duty attorney down to the lockup. There's been a murder defendant. And that attorney, on many of those occasions, was me. I was in Honolulu. I was the first assistant federal defender, and I would run down to the lockup. And that's where I had a few minutes to find out, how could I humanize that person who got into the mess, who was about to go before a judge or a magistrate? How could I find a way to make the judge, the magistrate, or the jury recognize the humanity in this person? And so over the weeks and the months that turned into years, I would learn quickly how to probe, how to find out what happened. How did you get in this mess? What happened to you? And who are you? So that when the U.S. Marshals took me into court with the defendant, and we were sitting there asking for the judge to give that defendant bail or to give them the benefit of the doubt, so that, if you can imagine, when the trial starts a few weeks later, they're either sitting next to you in a beautiful suit or a fresh haircut with a lovely shirt, a pretty dress, or if they don't get bail, they're brought in an orange jumpsuit, baggy, even for the women oftentimes, and in front of the jury who's going to decide their fate, handcuffs are unlocked. Imagine a pin doesn't drop in the courtroom, and then the U.S. Marshal bends down and unlocks what are often leg chains. The humiliation of starting your trial if you're that defendant. So I learned, oh my goodness, I have to find a story. I have to find a way so that that juror can go, that guy kind of, looks like my neighbor's son. Or that woman reminds me of my auntie's cousin or somebody I used to work with. If there's that humanity, then the trajectory of the person's journey, hopefully for the best possible outcome, begins in such a different way. So I learned to find those stories and tell them. And about 10 years in, that call came to run down to the lockup because there was a woman charged not just with murder, but with participating in a child's kidnap in part of a triangle love affair. That case ended up being so volatile, you could have cut the hate in the courtroom, that it was moved from the venue of Hawaii to the venue of Los Angeles. And that's how, on a rainy Wednesday morning, I ended up sitting at the defense table next to a woman, this woman named Kathy Brown. Big woman, big breasts, high blonde hair, very angry. And when we were sitting in that courtroom for the first time, courtrooms are a place anyone can visit. Talk about drama, talk about story. The dais where the judge is high above you. Usually there's very big high ceilings and there's koa or some other very rare wood. It's a place that is designed to be intimidating. So here we were, I'm next to this woman, the prosecutor's a few feet from me. How am I going to bring her story to the world in a way that gives her the best break that she can possibly have? And at that moment, the door opened and people started pouring into the courtroom, one after another. Who are all these people? What is going on? So I turned to the prosecutor, grabbed my legal pad, and I said, who are these people? And he wrote back to me. He said, these are Hollywood producers, and they all want the rights, the life rights to your client's story. And I thought, at this point, I'd been litigating for about 10 years, and I was longing to tell stories on a stage bigger than a jury of 12. And I jumped up and I said, Your Honor, recess. And in a few minutes, the marshals took Kathy down to the lockup. They put her in a little room. I took the public elevator, and sure enough, I was mobbed by all these people who wanted her rights. They were just pawing at me. I just walked straight to that interview room, and Kathy was sitting there, and she had a single bright red apple that the marshals had given her. And the only other thing in the room was a little white napkin. And I said, Kathy, these Hollywood producers are circling like vultures. What are we going to do? What do you want to do? And she took that napkin and grabbed the only thing I'd had the presence of mind to bring with me, my pen. She grabbed it. She wrote on that napkin, Yvonne Choatson is my executive producer. And when I looked at what she was writing, I knew at that moment my life was about to change. Because you see, her story was that she was a military wife, like thousands of lonely military wives around the world. And her husband was shipped off to sea. And foolishly, after he was gone for months, she'd gotten into a love affair with, sadly, his best friend. And when Chris, her husband, was shipped back and walked in, he had some kind of tummy ailment. It was a surprise. He wasn't supposed to be there. He walks into their barracks housing. He's holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, and he finds his wife in bed with his best friend. You can imagine what happened. There's a terrible fight. Somehow a kitchen knife was grabbed and Chris Brown was killed. There was blood everywhere. And fortunately, Kathy, who was in horror at what was happening, she was screaming at the top of her lungs, trying to protect her husband, the terrible guilt she felt for what she had done. Fortunately, their little 4-year-old was away on Kaneohe Air Corps Marine Nursery School. She wasn't there. Kathy never got to see her little girl again because Chris's mother, Mary Brown, filed adultery charges against her and she lost custody of her little girl. She went back to the little town in Alabama where her mother-in-law had her daughter and tried many times. And each time she went back, there was more, the fences were higher, there was more barbed wire, and she just could not get access. And there was one day, you can probably guess what day it is, in every southern town that Kathy knew, people would pour out together into the open. And that was the 4th of July. So she went to the little town with her sister. They put on black wigs. Her sister was blonde too. And her sister's boyfriend had a car hiding in the bushes. And they waited and they watched. And sure enough, little Christy, who by now was about 6, that's how long the whole procedure had taken. Little Christy ran out after a ball into the center of the field. And Kathy dashed out to her. She picked up her little girl and she said, "Mama's missed you so much, baby." And she took her little girl and they raced to the waiting car. And Kathy ran across 5 state lines. And of course, what happens, that prohibition that she couldn't see her daughter was only a state charge. But as we know, when you cross the state line, it becomes a federal matter. The FBI was after her. Mary Brown plastered thousands of wanted posters everywhere. Kathy and little Christy were on the run for several months. But on one stormy night in Oklahoma, they went into a woman's shelter for help. They were soaked to the bone, freezing cold, hadn't had a meal in 2 days. And the shelter people greeted them, gave them hot showers and warm soup. But what Kathy didn't realize is that on the wall, adjacent to where the worker was helping her, was one of Mary Brown's huge wanted posters that said "kidnapped" with a picture of Kathy and a picture of little Christy. So as Kathy and little Christy slept that night in a warm bed, the door was quietly locked behind them. And in the morning, about 5 a.m., 4 FBI agents were there and she was arrested. And that's how she was not only extradited back to the place where the murder had happened, but also that's how I ended up becoming her attorney. I was the duty attorney that day. And so she said to me that moment in the lockup, "Yvonne, I know for my part in what happened, I'm going away for a long time, but can you get money for my daughter so when Christy turns 18, she'll know that Mama loved her?" And that was my mandate. There I found myself 2 days later with one of those producers standing in a room at NBC Network with executives all around me, producers, they all had on black Gucci $300 tennis shoes and black jeans. Everything was black. And I was supposed to tell her story to see if they wanted it so they would pay life rights for it and she would have money for her daughter. And I thought, I've never pitched before. How do I know what I'm doing? And then it occurred to me, you've never pitched a movie, but you've done something far more. For a decade, you've pitched for people's freedom. You've pitched for their lives. You've pitched for their very best outcome. You can do this. And not only did those 13 executives say yes, but it became a 4-hour miniseries starring Martin Sheen and Patty Duke, and was NBC's highest rated miniseries in 8 years. My phone never stopped ringing off the hook, and overnight, I was a Hollywood producer. That is what can happen when you take a risk and tell a story. Now, with millions of views and many more movies, I can tell you it's just come out. It's in the public domain on YouTube. You can see that very first miniseries completely for free. It's called A Matter of Justice. And Kathy got those funds for her daughter. And after several years of making movies, I still have some coming that are in production now. I realized that key to my forgiving myself, because a caring therapist, a caring counselor came to me and said, just like the doctor who spoke before me, it's not your fault. Whatever happened to you, you're clean, you're pure, you're good. Forgive yourself and speak up and tell your story and help other people find their voice and tell their stories. And today, after coaching people in many, many different situations to tell their story, to speak up, and to know that they're worthy to do so and that their story matters, that no matter how put down or abused they were or you are, that, as Dr. Tash shared, it's so important for us to forgive ourselves, to listen to those around us. And whether there's a gifted counselor like I was blessed to have and like Dr. Monica was blessed to have, or whether it's a grandmother or a friend or somebody who can be outside the trauma that happened to you, so that they can tell you, they can anchor you in knowing that you're clean, you're good, you're pure, you deserve to be visible. And by sharing your journey, by sharing your story, you lift up everyone around you who might be in the dark, who might be feeling unworthy. Because when hurtful things happen to you, of course, as a child or a young person, you feel like it's your fault. It's not your fault. It never was your fault. And to have someone who can help you go back and tell that little kid who was you, I love you. I'll cherish you. And I'm never, never going to let you be hurt again. That's what we need to do for the little person inside us, and possibly for those around us who maybe don't have access to a counselor, but they have access to you. So tell your stories. Give the people around you the space, the privacy, the confidentiality to tell their stories. Encourage them, remind them, nurture them. It wasn't your fault. You're pure. You deserve to be visible. And by sharing what happened, you can step outside of the pain, the abuse, whatever happened, and know 100%, 1,000%, 10,000% that you are whole, that you're clean, that you're deserving of love. And that way, as we have heard today, it enables you and empowers you to give that smile and that reach out and that yes, that complete forgiveness to the next person because you so deeply forgive yourself. So tell your stories. I firmly believe that your story is the most potent tool you have to transform your world. Be in the possibility of all the gifts you came through with. Live the seeds of your destiny. Tell your story and be the best you can be, all grounded in forgiveness.
You never, I don't know how to actually put it in this way, but you just never cease to make sure you make me connect with you on a deep level. I've met so many people, but when you see I connect with you on a real part, because as much as you tell the story so beautifully, this is all true events. This is trauma beyond trauma, because even if you're defending someone and this is your job and you know your job, when you have to sit and listen to that, you have to live it. Actuality. Because when you hear someone's story, whether they're lying to you, however they're putting it, you have to live it to understand it. And as I said, right? Give yourself a pat on the back. So right about now, I want to bring up everyone because I see, Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez. You see, when I met her, I keep calling her Dr. Monica, Dr. Monica. So now she has this long, beautiful name that she actually accomplished all this. So she's excited backstage and she's all ready to ask you a question. We have the amazing Vined. Dr. Vined is joining us as well. Nina wants to ask something. We have Lindsay with her hands and smiling. So let's go with everyone coming up. Oops. There we go. Everyone is there. So you all can ask your questions.
Yvonne, I want to ask a question. What do you think if that happened when you was 5, that event never happened to you? Do you think you will be still the same person like you right now and reach so high in your career?
I think every life has trauma, and every life, especially for children, the vulnerable, the innocent, takes on the messages of our society. And so many of those messages are, you're not enough. You're never enough. And so the form that the sexual abuse took in my life, which is just incredibly common. And that's one reason I share the story as I do, because when we forgive and we overcome, then we can become who we're meant to be. So if it wasn't that I had instilled in myself, to hold myself back, to keep myself from participating in life, to think I was a dirty girl, if it wasn't that, it may have been something else. I know there are whole, intact people whose parents do every single thing they can to make sure that there's no hurts in their life. But we as caretakers and parents can't stop what happens the moment the child goes into the world. Maybe they get bullied. Whatever happens, it's like every life has something that hurts them. And so whether it was that or something else, I think each of us has things to overcome. So would I have felt the mission to speak on behalf of others for a whole decade as I was doing my own healing in myself? I don't know, but I know that as a Jewish person whose parents were out of Nazi Germany when 89 of our relatives were gassed, they came forward and from the time we were little kids said things like, why did we escape? And because we did, that guilt, the survivor guilt, you and all my 8 brothers and sisters, you have a mission to give back in this world. So I know I also was given that message. Whether I would have become a litigator, a criminal defense attorney on behalf of others, I have no idea. But I know from early when I found my voice, it was so clear to me that I wanted to use my voice to help other people use theirs.
Anybody else want to share, ask a question? Yvonne, amazing, beyond, like, oh my God. It's like,
Yeah, I got muted out a little bit. But I want to ask you, for me, I didn't recall my trauma until I started writing my book. At what period in your life did you get that that push to go back into your trauma? You know, as you talk about your therapist, at what was the event that pushed you to go back into that memory where you had to recall what happened to you? And 2, this is my book, right? The Caregiver, because on this journey, as you talk about caregivers, this book, some of those same, my journey led me to write this book, because we don't realize the caregivers are the one who are the criminals in these, some caregivers in this. So so the first question though, what was the event that made you recall that? At what point? For me, it was when I was writing my book and I had to go back. Then I recall all those bad memories, which was crazy.
Yeah, many people, like you're describing, Dr. Monica, and myself as well, just obscure what happened, like the memories weren't there. And then as a young person, I participated in an organization that at the time was called EST. I don't know if anyone else has heard of it, but you came together in a big auditorium and you worked on your feelings over time in small groups. I think it was a 6-month program. And then you had to invite somebody to come once the memory started coming up, to tell them what happened, ask for their apology, and tell them, I forgive you. And so I was terrified to do this, but I asked my parents to come. And so as soon as the event started, my parents and I went to the front of the room, 500 people. We walked up on the stage and I turned to my parents and I said, you allowed me to be molested by a neighbor. How could you not have checked that he had morals charges? And my father, he was in shock. My mother was like, we didn't know. And I cried, they cried, and they said, please understand how sorry we are. And in front of 500 people, we hugged. And that was such the beginning of healing for me, to have my own parents acknowledge that I'd been given to the wolves as a little girl, and to have that acknowledgement, and that's something we need to also understand, the awareness of outsiders reflecting back. It's called multiplied awareness, really helps us heal. So not only was that apology and my forgiveness back given in that moment, but it was before 500 people. Can you imagine? And so as a young person, I had that gift. And I think once that came out, all the memories started tumbling forward. Thank you for your very focused and perceptive question, Dr. Monica.
Wow. Thank you both. And at this time, Dr. Monica Sanchez, can you tell us where we can find a caregiver? Because I was trying to find a link online to put it in here. Can you let everyone know where they can find the caregiver so we can buy
Okay,
the book?
so I'm having some publishing rights issue with the publisher, so it's not released on Amazon as yet. But as soon as it's released, I'll share the link.
Awesome. So we're going to have you joining us on April 25th.
Yes.
Awesome. So we look forward to that link then. So right about now, these two amazing ladies has to run soon. So Ra wants them to hear his forgiveness story. So we will come back up here in a while. So let me do my little story. Every one of you, I give to you Mr. Trauma Talks.
Rahul K. Maharaj immigrated from Trinidad and Tobago nearly 23 years ago. He currently resides in Queens, New York. 5 years ago, he created Your Life Experiences with Ra, a social media platform that allows everyone to share real stories about overcoming the pitfalls of life. Rahul is the author of Untold Stories, Hidden Truths, and Melly and the Pandemic. Ra is also a great friend of mine, and he has been very, very supportive from the day that we met. He's an emphatic person, and he always wishes the best for everybody, and he really means it. You know how it's great to just get well wishes, that's beautiful, but Ra goes above and beyond, and I'm sure he doesn't just do that with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rahul K. Maharaj.
And once again, that video is 2 years old, and we are 7 years, 8 months of your life experiences with Ra, where we bring the stories of others, where you just heard from a little girl being taken advantage of to an award-winning Hollywood producer. It can't be that. From where you were to where you are today. See, this is where we're going to talk about the stories. But I want every one of you backstage to remember the intro from 5 years ago and what he said. And if those that know me, especially my amazing friend we spoke about just a few weeks ago when I had my back surgery, Vi Ned, and she called me one day when I was in pain, and she prayed for me genuinely from her heart. You know, this is the people that has been in my life. And I want you to ask her when she comes back what Lavari was saying when he introduced me 2 years ago. Was he wrong? Is he saying something wrong? So in January of 2024, I was asked to speak at a mental health conference, at a book signing, actually. It was a book signing, and it was called Live Your Purpose. So I transformed minds into living your purpose through trauma. And I spoke, and how I spoke was, it was my wine, it was my food, it was my balcony, it was my house. I said all that. And I said how the person started treating me. But see, when I go back, I have to go back and actually look and reflect, because I as well was wrong for some of the times when I would trip off and the things I would say, because sometimes you're mentally stressed in so many different ways. You yourself react because you, at the end of the day, is still human. But when you go back now, you remember things cannot be changed at that moment when you go back in time. It never will be changed. But what you can do, just like Ross says all the time, change like that is inevitable. It happens every day. You have to see it, you have to accept it. So you have to forgive yourself. Moving forward, knowing while you reflect that you want to be better, you want to change. See, many people in life, in society today, they actually are stuck. They make things that is unnecessary to become a problem. And that is the extra trauma, the extra baggage. You know, Ross say all the time, right? Think about your excess baggage as an ocean liner's anchor, the Titanic's anchor. And you grab it by its chain, it's all beat up, it's all rusted, and you start dragging it on the seashore. That is your trauma. That is your mental state of mind when it is all the bad things from the past, and you keep pulling that along. If you pull an anchor along the seashore, definitely you will pick up extra garbage. And that's your mind. When it accumulates all this, it holds you back. So quickly release the anchor, drop it by forgiving yourself. Now, you see, when I say this, I swing back around. A couple months ago, my stepfather was visiting, and he was here by me. And he came across, I was doing something in the room, and I was, working. And he asked me to do something for him. So I immediately stopped to listen to him, hear what he said, and I helped him. So he stuck around afterwards, and he looked at me and he says, "You have changed." And I said, I stopped again because I started doing my work, and I said, "What do you mean you have changed? What do you mean by that?" He says, and he take me back to a scenario in the past. And he says, I didn't need it important, but this is how you reacted that time. And he says, "I've been looking at you. You have really changed." And I said, and I smiled, and we had a conversation, and I ended up switching him about him because I have said this so many times publicly that he has one of the worst addictions, and it's the alcohol. And no matter what, we are here for you to understand you are not alone, because you are not going through it by yourself. Every one of us is going through something. And there you are. You're looking at your loved one who you're out here helping, you're touching, because I have the responses of others who have made their lives better, who have changed their mindset, who wants to understand love and loving themselves to love others around them. And I look at him and tears will come out my eyes because I can't fix him. I hear him, I speak to him, but no matter what happens, unless you accept who you are and want that help for you to love yourself enough to make that change, it wouldn't happen. So you have to do it for you. So yes, we swing back around. I have learned, and at that moment, when he told me that, I closed my eyes. Go back to the entire situation, which you should always do. Don't matter how right you are. In that moment, no matter what it is, you could be so right about. Forgive yourself for your reaction. Forgive yourself for things you have said. Forgive yourself for not knowing or knowing differently. And then come back. When you come back, make sure you don't repeat the same thing going forward. Those are the ways, as I said earlier, Ambassador Dr. Monica Sanchez, she preaches it and she shows every single body, everyone she shows love, even her enemies. And trust me when I say this. You see, you have to be able to forgive yourself, to let go of things. And when you let go of those things, you cannot go back to it. Now, we come back around again to where I started. But this time, I want you to understand where I forgive not just the other person, but forgive myself for allowing me to be in a situation like that when I was here standing to help others. But the situation had to come to help me to understand more of my story, that I could understand when I put myself in someone else's shoes, I could feel their pain. Because many of times I'm compared. This is Ra. How can you compare yourself to a family of 2 daughters, a wife and a husband, being brutally beaten, raped, abused in front of each other, resulting in the father taking his own life because he felt helpless among his children? See, I never compare, but I step into those people's shoes and I connect, because we are all connected and we have to understand. I was just looking recently at TikTok and I see these people preaching the word of God, but condemning other people's religions and calling another person's God evil. And here you are, the person you're preaching about, the God himself you're preaching about, is Jesus, who told his followers right there. And if you listen with love and understand, if you forgive yourself for whatever you're hurting for, you would know not to do this. But he said, everyone is welcome in my Father's kingdom. Everyone, don't matter who you are, is welcome at my table. And if it is that you just can't understand that, then I am sorry. I have no other way to help you again. But you have to find that in you. People teach you to share love all the time, not hate. The world is at a place of chaos right now, and we all need to be there for each other. And these conferences come together. Forgive Yourself came together with another one called Love Yourself, another conference called Believe, and our upcoming conference I want you to look out for, called Acceptance. So I have went back so many times to forgive myself, to forgive my 14-year-old self who thought he was about to remove me from this earth. I had to go back to 2015 to that man who was holding a handful of opioids, ready to take it, when his best friend Anna calls him and saves him. See, I have a purpose. I did not know it previously. I was brought up in a society of tough love because I'm Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago. I love my country. I love who I am. And I love my heritage, my religion, my spiritual background. Everything stemmed from where it started, from where I was born. When I say this, I had to learn to go back to certain places, even as a child, to forgive me. Because let me tell you, karma never forgets you, and it follows you into different lifetimes. Believe it or not. And this is something you have to go and forgive yourself for whatever reason you're here going through it. Because at the end of the day, you have to continue this journey, no matter what you do. Remember, what is meant for you shall never pass you by, and what passes you by was never meant for you. Just as there once was a man who had the blues because he had no shoes. Down the street, he met a man who had no feet. The same way Ra could keep reflecting. Started this 7 years ago plus. Kept on the same journey. While I'm on the journey, I learn. While I learn, I heal. While I heal, I help. And I continue to spread love and affection through my music, through my books. Just 2 days ago was in another #1 international best-selling book, The Art of Connection. Resilience, 365 days of resilience. We're on the billboard in Times Square. It was beyond amazing again. You see, if I didn't step into this light to help you understand you are not alone, I wouldn't have been who I am today. Mr. Trauma Talks. And with that being said, I just want to bring on back everyone. Anyone want to ask any questions? And we go up from there. Any questions?
It's so admirable that you took your own trauma with your stepfather and have created such a powerful platform for so many. Where did the motivation and courage? I'm sure you've put your own money on the line and asked people to believe in you before it happened. Where did you get your courage to bring this event into reality?
I love it, because that's exactly what I spoke about in resilience. When I give my quote is, as Susie read last month, is my quote is, your resilience is your truth. I wrote about my mom and how I learned throughout my life to ask myself what that strong woman is going to do next. What would she have done in this situation? Because yes, I speak about my stepfather. That stepfather who is current right now. He met my mom in 2002, and trust me, they have this really amazing love story. And with that being said, is when I spoke about 14 years ago, being 14 years old and attempting suicide for the very first time, was because I was ran out of the house by my first stepfather, who I actually thought was my daddy. You know what I mean? I looked up at him. I grew with him from 18 months old. And then to go through the things that I went through, that throughout all my talks, you would have heard pieces of my story as I tell it. But I heard people blame their moms for things that happened in their life. I never did that. I just was like, how the hell does this woman do this? She goes through an abusive relationship. She has her kids. She's resilient. She keeps working. She's the breadwinner. And how? So now here I am. As I said, I don't compare. I put myself, so I had to start stepping in her shoes. We came to America. She came here in 1998. And let me tell you, when you talk about parents paving the road, she did that for us. When I came here in 2000 with her, there were times you just look across at her and she's crying. And I never understood that why? What was wrong with her? But then you have to understand, when you get older, that poor lady used to be thinking about her 2 sons that was there while she's here trying to make things right, make it good, and make that life for them because of her love for her children. My mother, I was speaking to someone 2 days ago on my walk with Ozzy, and my mom has been there for people who treated her the worst, who said the worst of things to her, while all she did is show them love. And today, those same people will call her and she will cry with them, laugh with them, and love them just as she did. So if this is the person you're learning from, I don't think that there could be something different together with learning from the love from Jesus, the love from Sri Krishna, Buddha. I take all the positives out of everything and I pour it out here because, as I said, I went to India in 2017 and I had an awakening. And when I had that awakening, I wanted others to allow others to hear the voices of others, their stories, to let them know they're not alone. But who is doing it? Most of the times, human beings cause other human beings to go through the problems. They destroy each other. And with this being said, this is why I produced this platform. So people, as Dr. Monica Sanchez said in the beginning, it's a safe place to share your stories in a positive way. So someone else who's going through it would hear it and be like, wow, today I heard from this amazing woman. I heard she's a producer, a Hollywood award-winning producer, Yvonne Choatson. And she was telling a story about herself and how she had to go for therapy, how therapy helped her. And this is why we do that.
Thank you. I wish I didn't have to jump off. This is fabulous. I wish I could hear each of your stories, but I coach a lovely class on Saturdays, and so I must take my leave now. Thank you, Ra, for this wonderful platform and the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. I love you. And thank you for taking your time. We will have you back. We love you.
Bye-bye.
So anybody else want to ask a question before we go to our next speaker? Dr. Monica,
I
sorry.
quickly ask you, you know, on this platform, we're all adults, but I know that there would be young people listening. And as a young person who had to deal with your trauma and forgiving yourself, what would be a message that you would give to a young person who has been traumatized, who want to get to this point to forgive themselves and to move forward? Your message to them today would be what?
I love this. Oh my God. You see, last year we had a mental health conference. And just like this, in person, on Times Square in Broadway, and I was having a hard time. And one of the speakers, she called me, and Dr. Monica, I'm just muting you for a second because you have a feedback, okay? So yeah, and she called me and she says, Ra, I feel a lot of heaviness on you because it's stressful to hold a mental health conference. And she said, I want to take you back in the past. But she wanted to show me how to love that person who went through it. And she took me back in the past. And this thing, I had done these exercises before, but she did this in a different way. And when I went back into the past with her this time, I saw a third person, which was myself. So you see, when you say, don't matter who you are, and you're looking at this, especially the younger generation, we speak about social media, especially the comparison of social media. A lot of people speak about, and the competition, and this one wants to be like that one. Do you know, before social media was so big, and there was always media, and all those late night shows and different live shows they would have, all these people were in competition with each other as well. And if you ask any one of them from the past, they will tell you. My advice to all of you is to love yourself. Allow you to connect with you. And by doing that, you have to reflect on your days passed by. And your days passed by could just be last week. Because for a teenager, for a person who is now coming in adulthood, for a young adult in their early 20s, you have to understand every single thing that you learn, how to apply it. Because you might learn something about life. Because in my way, religion could be one of the most deceiving things. It tells you if you pray, anything is going to happen for you. But that's not true. It's not like that. It's not a genie in a lamp that you rub and it's going to pop out of the bottle. You want that career so badly. You went and you got the bachelor's degree and you realize, holy crap, there's a billion other person with a bachelor's degree wanting the same position. Now you get scraps that you think is scraps for you. But actually, that's you starting to climb your ladder. When you go to write your first exam as a teenager and you fail, as they put it, if you happen to fail, don't think about it as a failure. If you didn't start studying for it, you wouldn't have understood it the second time. You go back for it, and that time you will be successful. You see, you have to reflect on the days go by where you would think you're right or wrong. Understand who is that person guiding you. Understand where your journey is taking you. Reflect and love yourself. And the same way you're loving yourself, love others as well.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm sorry that I have to run, but it's still March month, Women's History, and I have 2 more events. So I'm so excited. I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Thank you guys so much. Ra, as
Love
always,
you.
I love you. And this has been awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, my beautiful ladies. Any other questions? Dr. Vi, how are you? Thank you for being here. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're still muted,
Control,
Vi. There you
yeah.
go.
Control D.
No, I think she's using her phone, so she has to mute it from the bottom. Anybody else? All right. If not, I will let Dr. Vi. She got kicked out there for a second. She's probably adjusting her stuff. So we had Tanner Bergsma, and he's not here. So at this point, I want to get it into a different direction. So let's do this. How about we invite someone different up here in a different light? Let's hear from Lindsay. Lindsay is a speaker and an advocate who shares her story with honesty and vulnerability, helping others understand the importance of healing, self-worth, and emotional resilience. I give the stage to Lindsay, the balance.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with everyone. This has been an incredible morning so far. I want to just dive in a little bit into a piece of the story that I will bring with you today. And that is within 2 weeks after uprooting my life, leaving this comfort zone as a teenager, I moved in with someone, and we'll just call him him. But after those 2 weeks, I couldn't walk. He had kicked me so hard that my hip wasn't quite right. And I asked him, I said, "Why would you do that to me?" But with no remorse and instead a smile, he goes, "Would you rather me put my helmet on and headbutt you?" My ex loved that, and she always ended up with a concussion. And this was the first time that I didn't listen to myself. A voice in the back of my mind said, "Leave, Lindsay." But the other voice, like a tiny little devil on my shoulder, said, "No one else wants you. Stay here and toughen up. You can still walk, see? At least you don't have a concussion." But one painful year later, I was holding my baby girl, alone in the hospital because he had gone to the bar while I was healing from birth. And 2 months later, alone again. Alone that time because luckily he was captured, cuffed, and taken away. His words, "I'm sorry," fell so far out of his mouth, my hands did not care to catch them. Because in one hand I was holding my sweet baby, and the other hand was pressed so firm against my mouth that I could not let out a sound. And that was the last time I did not listen to myself. My body said, "Do not answer because it is not okay." And I listened. My mind said, "This is your chance. Pack, leave, get out." And I listened. I heard myself again to keep the distance. Don't go back and fall for that charm. And I listened. I said, "Do not ever call me again." And he listened. And still, not once yet have I regretted a moment of that painful year in my life. And I've forgiven myself for not listening. Sure, others had warned me, have fun with your thug, or a random message saying, "Lindsay, what are you doing?" I didn't know. I couldn't hear myself. I lost myself. I lost who I was. I was just a shell. And after it all, I still was lost. I didn't know who I was coming out of that. But I continued on raising my daughter, trying to live my life as best I could. And then I realized that in this little safety moment of my life that I had found, I wasn't afraid anymore. I chose to see the safety. And in that realization, I began to find my voice again. I began that return to myself, and it was not linear, it was not quick, it wasn't an easy path, but it was a deep and relentless cycle of uncovering, listening, reclamation, and unapologetically standing in my power. And here's how this showed up for me in real time. 15 years later, I was standing in the grocery store, and in front of me, this janky man was wobbling along with his cart in front of me. And suddenly I could feel the eyes on me. You know, that feeling someone's staring at you. And I listened to myself because my body said, look up. And I was like, okay. And there he was in the grocery store. In my mind, I heard, don't react, just breathe. But that tiny little devil on my shoulder said, chase him. But instead, I took that deep breath and we locked eyes. He ran. You get to choose what you listen to. You get to hear yourself in the moments when you only just feel like a shell of you is remaining. You get to stand up. You get to reclaim you, your voice, your truth, and forgiveness. I'd say that's also your choice. Because in those moments when you choose to forgive yourself for the times you just couldn't hear clearly, or for those times where that tiny little devil got your attention instead, you're still integrating your reclamation. And I'm not sorry for the mess that I had left behind. I'm just sorry I didn't leave it sooner. So for today, just for now, this version of you that didn't listen, for the version of you that stayed, the version of you that chose survival over truth, can you take a second, just a moment, and instead of judging them, acknowledge them? You are here now. The version of you who you were, who you no longer are. That version of you does not need your punishment, not anymore. Maybe they need your forgiveness. So let's choose to forgive that tiny little devil on your shoulder, that one that kept us complacent, small, disconnected from our truth. Let's choose to move forward and face it next time with listening deeper to our inner voice. And I want to leave you with this question. What would change in your life if you gave yourself permission to choose to hear yourself the first time?
Lindsay, thank you so much for saying yes to be part of Forgive Yourself. Listen, I can't say it more than I keep saying it. What do I say? Take your hand and give yourself a pat on the back for doing it for you, because nobody else would have been able to do it. There's tons of ladies I know going through domestic violence right now, and they would not stand up for themselves to understand, hey, that gotta be crazy. I am allowing someone else to treat me like this? For what reason? For what reason? Nah, I don't deserve this. I need to love me enough to pull me out of this. And you did it. I saw Dr. Tash in the private chat send you a message, and she said to you, I'm so proud of you. I went through the same and now I shine. He thought I would die without me. Well, I guess him, but when I forgive myself and forgive him, I saw it. So she's saying she's so proud of you too. And I am proud of you because, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to keep pulling yourself out of it. But you see, this is one of the things people continue to hold things back. Like when I said, if you don't let go of certain things, is one of the things is they don't realize when they reflect, they would realize there's a Bollywood movie that is called Three Idiots. I quote all the time. These guys would put their hand on their chest and they would say, all is well, all is well. And they even have a song for it, all is well. They were med students, right? So the same as they're telling you, all will be well. It is temporary. It don't last forever. That scenario, that situation is already written. You just have to be like our amazing friend Anya Piskinoff always says, Ra, let's go to California and ride some waves, because she loved to surf. She said when she's out there, she's in control. The waves and her becomes one with her board. The same thing with you. It's all temporary. You have to let go in order to allow life to take you on this journey. Let the wave take you for that ride and bring you back in. All right. So let me bring up everyone. I see the smiles, Nina and Dr. Nimpu. All right. Let's see what's going on. I don't know where Vined has gone, but ladies, you want to ask a question?
I have comment, not question, but comment about the yourself would stand up for yourself. Do you believe it? Do you believe it was your guardian angel? And this little thing was sitting on your other shoulder, who was saying, no, doing this. What you was exercising free will, whereas we live in free will world. Is it what we're doing every single day? We are saying yourself, yes, this is way right. We listening, angel. And then, okay, no, I will do my way because I can. This is what you feel this way, or something else was moving? You are go away from all this abuse.
There were definitely moments where I let that inner critic or the energy of others' words, those hate comments or that verbal abuse that we go through, those microaggressions that really just build up, right? And it can form itself into this tiny little devil on your shoulder. And it's not you, it's the energetic form of every piece of damage that you've ever had to withstand. And it just compiles and builds, and it's that weight on your shoulder. But when we just pause and take that moment to recognize it for what it is, and we say, that's not me. And we get to that moment to where we can sit with ourselves in a different way, from the lens of love, from the lens of acceptance, the lens of forgiving ourselves for taking on this energy form and putting that pressure on ourselves. It shifts the way that we hear everything else. We can then identify that verbal abuse of, oh, what are you wearing? That's that energy form. That's not us. That's somebody else's comment that's just coming on to us. But when we stop and we sit and we listen to who we truly are without the words of others or the pressure of others, I feel everything shifts. And that's those moments where we do find that reclamation of self and hearing ourselves again.
Dr. Nimpu, you want to ask anything? Let's see, Dr. Vined is back. Hello, Dr. Vined. How are you?
I'm here, but can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Beautiful. Everything is better now.
So, I don't know what's going on. I just got this new internet system last week, and to me, it's worse than what I had before.
It happens, technology. We speak about that all the time, so you don't have to worry about that. That's out of your control. But we can see you, we can hear you, and that's amazing. Before, I think you wanted to ask a question or say something when I was on, and then Lindsay is here. I know you were hearing her. So if you want to ask anything and add into there, and also Dr. Nimpu, if you want to ask something to Lindsay, let me know. Just go ahead. Who's first?
Dr. Vi, you can go. I'll follow
No,
you.
go ahead. I've been in and out so much that I lost my trend of thought now.
Oh.
Yes,
All
sorry.
right. Lindsay, what a level of strength that I drew from your story. You know, in psychology or I would say mental health and even healthcare, we say you go through 3 responses when you encounter a traumatic experience or exposure. You either fight it, you flight by running away, or you freeze. So I heard you talk about how you fought back.
The story with
honesty
and vulnerability.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it is amazing how you analyze the situation before you could even react, but you had that inner dialogue. It's amazing. That is such a strong suit of a survivor that when you told your story, I kept saying, wow, she was in control. You held your ground. So congratulations on how you compose yourself and did not allow the situation to make the best of you. Even though you when you mentioned you should have acted, you should have reacted sooner, you should have done something sooner, forgive yourself sooner. I saw through your story that you had control of the situation all the way. So great job.
Thank you. I do want to add to that, if anyone is listening, that fight, flight, or freeze moment can really take us over. And it's in those moments, and I've learned this through my personal therapy too, connecting again to counseling. But it was, my therapist called it the magic pause. And in that, she really taught me the difference between reacting and responding and how those two are so different. And I think that is one of the things that kept me in that composure, was that magic pause of, okay, I could react right now. And that's that quick, immediate, reaction. I'm reacting to what's happening. But when you pause, it gives you that moment to, respond. And I want to add that to how you say, because it is something that comes up for so many of us, and it can happen, like in an instant when you're just walking down the street and something startles you, right? But it's in those moments where we can, hey, I'm choosing to take my power pack right here, and I'm going to pause so I can respond. And I feel that's something that can really make a difference.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Some of the things that y'all talk about where she was in control, and that's where self-realization happens, as I was saying to the younger generation earlier, on your reflection of what's happening yesterday. Most of the times you ask yourself, you have learned what is right and wrong. There are some people, and I would say this, they are born here with their destiny and their scenarios of never seeing it, the things they do wrong, or however the things they would always consider they are right. That's them. But when you're a person who have the love inside of you, as I explained one day on Trauma Talk Thursdays, you know what I explained about love? Love is that smallest spark inside of you. And the only time that spark ignites and grows is when you show that love. When you share that little spark, it connects with another spark and it gets a little bit brighter. And that's how it is. So the more you show love, the more you help push your spark to connect with others, you would see the difference in your life. And that is the thing about it, is letting go, reflecting. And that is what she did. She had to keep looking at all the red flags that it said. So this is where she was in control to understand enough is enough. As my mom, another book we are in, Elevate Your Visibility, another #1 international bestseller I'm in from last August. And guess what? I wrote about what my mom taught me. She taught me the longest rope has an end. And that's where you called it down the middle. I love this. I love bringing the conferences, as I said, because then the messages are powerful. It's not gossip, just like on Broadway. When we bring mental health, a conference together on Broadway in a theater, it's not bringing the drama that you normally see. It's bringing trauma. So right about this time, I want to put everyone backstage and let's introduce my next speaker. So all these little jobs was put down for everyone, all my speakers. I know Susie had a beautiful, beautiful week with the book launch, and she had it a little hectic. She actually almost fractured her toe, and she has been going through it. She's supposed to be here to do song therapy. We miss her. She's supposed to read somebody's introduction. She's not here. Every single person that's not here and they had something that happened, anything is possible at any time in life. And with that being said, we all need to understand, as I said, put yourself in someone else's shoes. And this is something. With that, you will start understanding others. This is the love that you share. The way you want others to love you, you love yourself and love others that way too. So the next amazing person, the soul who's about to share right now, is Nina V. Gaza. She's a dynamic voice. And let me tell you, when I talk about the dynamic voice, she brings light. And light, as a certified diamond dowsing and feng shui expert, international best-selling author, and founder of the Inner Light Discovery. Through her work, she helps individuals achieve emotional, spiritual, and environmental balance, guiding them toward healing, alignment, and positive energy in their lives. I give to all of you the amazing, the talented, the beautiful Nina V. Gaza.
Thank you, Ra. Thank you for this opportunity. Meet these all wonderful people, and they are kind of intimidating. Doctor. I am not a doctor. Don't have a medical education, but I have calling to heal people. I want to talk, we was talking in previously, speakers was talking about someone hurt them and how they forgive themselves and other people. And I want to talk about different side of forgiveness. Everyone has had moment where they feel they are hurt someone or make mistake. Feeling guilty is a part of being human, but it is also gives us chance to learn, grow, and do better. Many years ago, when I was still living in my native country in Russia, I had a best friend for many, many years. We grew up together. We were very, very close. And before I moved to the United States, we promised each other that we would stay in touch no matter what. It was not just little kids' promises when we are all excited about life laying in front of us. It was two adults, we also about 40 years old at that time, give promise each other. When I arrived in the United States, everything was new and overwhelming. It was a new country, new culture, and I was trying to learn English, build a life from scratch, from beginning. It took a lot of time and energy just to settle in. One day, I had a chance to call my friend. During our conversation, she shared something very painful. She told me that her husband had left her for another woman. She now had two children to raise on her own, and she needed to find a better job to support them. For this new job, she had to go through medical checkup. One of these tests was X-ray test. After the X-ray, doctor asked her to come back for another appointment. She told me she was scared. She said, "What if it is cancer?" I didn't take her fear seriously. I laughed at it and say, "What are you talking about? It's probably nothing. Maybe just something left after pneumonia or cold." That was the last time we spoke. After that, my life became even busier. After that call, I was focused on learning English, find job, and adjusting to my new life. Several months passed and I didn't call her, didn't have a chance. After about 4 months later, I finally had a chance to call her. But someone other answered the phone. My heart started beating, pounding like crazy. I knew immediately something happened. It wasn't her voice. I asked, "Where is the Svetlana?" It is the name of my friend. This person on the phone told me she passed away 2 weeks ago. My heart broke. I asked about her children. They told me older daughter went to live with her grandmother and younger child stayed with the father. I felt deep pain and guilt. I had promised to be there for her, to support her, but I didn't listen to her fears. I didn't follow up. She couldn't call me either because at that time international calls were very expensive and she didn't have money to call. For many, many years, I carried this guilt. I thought about her often. My heart felt heavy and my soul felt restless. But I never ever again dismissed someone's fear or concerns. This type of experiences create karma, giving us opportunity to learn and choose differently moving forward. Karma, it is not a punishment. It is about learning and growing. When you practice forgiveness, you let go of heavy emotions from the past and allow yourself to grow in a more aware and positive way. Karma simply means that your thoughts, words, and actions have effect. So basically, karma is actions plus result. In common language, we can say, what's goes around comes around, right? But it is not karma, it is not blaming yourself. It is about becoming aware and learning from your experiences. When you hold into guilt or shame, you stay stuck in the past and may keep repeating the same patterns over and over. Self-forgiveness helps you break that cycle so you can heal and move forward. You may take the following steps to forgive yourself, like accept what happened without judging yourself, look for the lesson in the experience, or make better choice moving forward. Real healing happened when you combine awareness with kindness towards yourself. You are not your past. You are someone who is learning and growing from it. Now, I would like to guide you through the short but very powerful meditation to release karma. So basically, forgive yourself. Please sit up straight, uncross your legs and arms, and close your eyes. Relax. Imagine that ray of warm, soothing sunlight are shining through you, and your cells open up like flowers receiving this light. Take 3 very slow inhale and exhale. On inhale, imagine that sunlight going through your skin into your heart. And on exhale, it's shooting out into the universe. You feel calm and happy. Imagine the mountain in front of you, and you are starting climbing up, walking easy and joyfully, no stress. Soon enough, you are on the top of this mountain, and in front of you can imagine stargates. You are bravely stepping into these stargates, and magnificent white light surround you. And in front of you, you see your guardian angel. Ask your angel to take you to the chamber of your soul, your I am presence, and feel yourself being guided there. Like angel takes your hand and you're moving up and up and up through the universe. In the room, you see white, pink, golden light, and from that light, your soul is stepping out and asking you to open your heart to unconditional love. It is higher heart somewhere above your physical heart. And you start feeling like beautiful pink rose growing in your heart. Ask your guardian angel to give this rose to the guardian angel of the person you feel guilty toward, placing it into their heart. Say thank you to this person for their lesson and opportunity to grow. Ask your soul to erase this karma and any similar patterns from your soul records. It is erased. Thank your soul in your guardian angel and gently open your eyes. If you like this meditation, you may schedule session with me on my website, www.ninavigarza.com. And I wish you wonderful, wonderful experiences during your life after you forgive yourself.
You are truly amazing. Like, truly, truly amazing. You said something, and we are in this book together, right? Like, I really did miss you this week on
Yes.
Thursday night. I really, really did miss you. And I'll tell you this. I'm in the group chat with everyone, and you see the excitement. Well, you were there, and you see the excitement when we were going by the Jumbotron, and the book is up, and everybody's taking photos and everything, and everybody thinks, especially all the newcomers, oh my God, I met this new family, and they're in the group chats, and they're sharing the pictures and the videos, and they're all like, oh, let's keep together. And see, I've been doing this for 7+ years, and I know how it feels the first time. And every single time I meet a new group, I know the feeling, but I know what's going to happen next. That is going to slowly die. The ones who are really on a journey together, see, like Susie and I are always, most of the time, everywhere together, and we're always doing these things on a flow, right? We try to keep in touch. You can try to keep in touch with as much people, but some of them, I'm sorry to say, the spark that they show you, it doesn't remain. See, Nina is here today because she knows how I keep in touch with her. It's here, random, there, but I always remember the first time I met her, and then she stepped on my stage on Broadway, and she showed true resilience. On stage, she wasn't ashamed to let that tears flow. When I sent her video, she was so grateful. And that is who this powerful woman is, who just blessed all of you with that blessing. I see Lindsay shaking her head backstage, and I'll bring her up. And we have the amazing Vi Ned is just sitting there watching. Dr. Nimpu, y'all could share with her, share some of the love that you all felt, and ask her what you want to ask her.
Nina, I loved that meditation. And as I was thinking of who to give this rose to, it was almost like I could feel myself like releasing so much more than I had realized that I was still holding. So that was just so incredible. And it made me curious as to how you got to that point to realize that the karma and that connection like kind of follows you along, and how you worked yourself through that to guide us all through it today.
That's do not realize when we come in, we are born here, right? And when we are born, we receive in soul. That's our connection to the source, to the conscious, right? Common conscious. And then we are forgetting about it. Circumstances, surroundings, schools, everything, it's just completely forgetting. But that angels, guardian angel, who connected with your soul. It's just right there. It's always right there. You need just ask, right? That's not only exercise free will. The free will, we came over there in this world to realize yourself, to clear our karmas. If what we didn't clear karma this year, this life, we will bring in our next reincarnation. And we will be go over and over and over until we are find the way to stand up against this karma, like you did, Lindsay. You realize it. But we forgetting that that's angel, guardian angel. It is basically in each religion, right? It's not religious person. It is spiritual. And he is right there. He is always with you, loving you unconditionally. You just need ask. But you need to ask, not just say, okay, angel, do this. I'm already suffering so much. Do this for me. No. You need to come from your heart with love as much as you have. Because if you don't believe that everywhere it is love, you are mistaken. Because the love is everywhere, even in the people who do wrong or do good. There are have this love as well, and we are so interconnected. It is just impossible because we are physically. Was no losing millions and millions the electrons going into the space, right? So my electrons went to you, your electrons went to me. We are so connected. If we hurt each other or I hurt you, it means I hurt myself already. So we need to be more conscious what we do and how we do. Be more loving to each other. And karma accumulates because of this, every single words what you saying, it's bring you karma because it's has a result of your actions, your words, right? There is a karma and dharma, the good one and bad one. Karmas create stagnant energy in your body, stagnant energy of your chakras. It's create physical illness. Did you notice what the people who was talking today, they are majority of them, they are had very severe illnesses. That's a result of karma because it wasn't on time processed and released. So
Thank you. It's just beautiful work.
thank you.
So can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I would just speak generally. I don't have a question, but I have a comment, and it's for everyone. You know, I listen to the stories, and I admire each and every one of you because we all have a different journey. We all have different experiences, but I realize we all have one thing in common. And I would say that we all have bowels of steel. You know, I admire the resiliency, I admire the fortitude, and I admire the plasticity of everyone to go through those experiences and to step up after a step down. That is commendable. So each and every one of you, you are phenomenal. And I encourage you, I congratulate you for going through that and then for standing up. So I encourage each and every one to continue going forward. Don't look back, because what in front of you is greater, and your experience from the back is to help others to bring them forward. So thank you everyone for sharing your stories.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vined. Dr. Nimpu, do you want to ask something or add?
Absolutely. I was just listening to what Dr. Vi had to say to all of us, and I appreciate that. Because it really ties into what Nina spoke on, the energy that flows among us, how we share all of these particles of energy, and depending on what's coming from the next person, could be negative energy flowing towards you, and or the other way around, you could be receiving positive ions from the other person. So usually when I attend RAS mental health conferences, I leave charged positively, because the atmosphere, people around there, everyone that shows up, the vibe is just so supercharged with positivity. So indeed, this is where I want to be, even though I'm not here often. But when I do come, I leave with that supercharged positivity in my spirit. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nina. Your work is deep. It's one that quite interesting. I would love to see more and learn more about what you do. But it seems like you're ready to go deep into spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so amazing. I love how you all connect. And you know the thing about Nina and Dr. Nimpu? They were part of my in-person mental health conferences. Dr. Nimpu was part of my very first mental health conference, an experiment on Broadway that brought so much light. That this is where I understood that your trauma talks need to be. Nowhere else. When she came out with her motivational piece and she was dancing, and I was like, wow, look at the energy. And when you hear her story coming up right after this, you would be blown away. So I put everyone, backstage as I bring on this amazing soul. This is where we talk about forgive yourself, the resilience in this amazing soul. Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, my Rastas all around the world, I give to you this conference, this 9th mental health conference that we bring here month after month. Our next conference is coming up on April 25th. Same time, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I already have a couple beautiful speakers lined up that I can't wait for you to hear what they have to share, especially when it comes to acceptance. You have to accept who you are. You have to, as I said, love yourself. You have to believe. You have to forgive yourself. You have to accept who you are. Be nice. Be kind. Be beautiful from inside and show that love. Let your spark connect with others and show the world love, especially right now. And when I tell you this, we're talking about wars, and you're about to hear a story. I give to you Dr. Nimpu Kamal, who is a global leader, educator, health professional with over 26 years of experience across clinical, academic, and community health. She is the founder of Nurses in Charge, Inc., a faith-based nonprofit dedicated to empowering and uplifting nurses and midwives worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, I had the privilege of being part of one of her world global conferences, and she put together and bring together stories and beautiful, wonderful nurses who sacrifice their self and their lives every single day to put their life there to help others. This is the person that you're about to hear from. Everyone, Dr. Nimpu Kamu Hall.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Ra, for having me. I'm always honored to be in your circle where you uplift those who come around you. You bring people on so that we are healing as we encounter that space. So this is a little bit about me. We don't have enough time for me to tell you my entire book that is yet to be written. So my name is Nimpu Kamu Hall. I was born in Liberia, West Africa. I grew up in a beautiful village in the central region of Liberia. I'll take you back to growing up between two grandmothers, my paternal grandmother and my maternal grandmother. And I drew so much strength, courage, wisdom from these two powerful women, of whom one is still alive. She's 96 years old. And so my paternal grandmother, stubborn, beautiful, just full of wisdom. She would take me around the village when we had programs that were honoring the chiefs, or there were delegates coming to town. She would put on her design, the traditional musical dancing ornaments. She had made one for me. She had made one for herself, and we go dancing when my dad wasn't around. He did not approve of it. So she waited till when he was not around, she would take me around for us to dance. And we got many applause and we got prizes. And so that was one of the very first, I would say, the memory that I still hold onto very, very dearly, because she's passed on now. Then my maternal grandmother, she's quiet, she's reserved, she is very humble, and she would tell me stories. She's a storyteller. She would tell me stories about, olden days, how, the warriors were fed and they would, skip families and not harm certain families and all that. So she told me folk tales. So between these two grandmothers, they really gave me a strong foundation. Then came my mother. My mother is a nurse now. She's been a nurse 45 years. So having this beautiful background, everything came to a traumatic halt. Everything I enjoyed doing with my grandmothers, everything I enjoyed observing my mother go to work at the hospital dressed up in white, her shoes are polished, her uniforms are ironed with starch. She looked radiant when she goes to work. She's coming back home and the neighbors are saying hello to her, and she is highly revered. Again, by the age of 12, we have a civil war in Liberia. The brutal civil war that claimed thousands of lives sent us into refugee camps, into neighboring countries. So you can see I had a beautiful beginning that just went out of the out of reality in a split second, you would say. So from the age of 12 into the age of 14, I lived running for my life with my family, of course. And by the time I could get to the US, I had spent all of these years working, started working at the age of 14 in a refugee camp to help my mother pay for food, get us shelter, pay for our rents. So leaving Liberia was not something that I ever wanted to do, but it was out of desperado, you can say. At the age of 12, I am at that time the oldest of 5 siblings. You don't hear me mention my dad because my dad was in the US. He had taken a business trip, so he was never with us throughout the war. It was my mother. So everything we saw during the war, if you've ever seen a movie that just shows you all of the actions of, you know, in one movie I would bring closer to your mind, if you ever seen, is Black Hawk Down. That movie was actually a story told about Liberia, but the name, the plot and everything was changed just for political reasons and also sensitivity to the viewers. So everything I would tell you during this time just has to do with the exposure to brutality, killing fields, family members, relatives, neighbors, just leaving where they ever lived at, running for their lives. Rebels, you know, I would say misfiling people and saying you're from another tribe. So it was a tribalistic war. So that war now, we've went through the war, lived in refugee camps, and I could not wait to arrive to the US. By the time I got to the US with my family, I was 16 years old with a 3rd grade education. All I wanted to do is to go to school. So I'm taking you from the beautiful beginning I had growing up in Liberia before the age of 12, and everything shattering at the age of 12, between 12 and 16, and now arriving into the land of opportunity, a place where everybody wants to come, the great USA. Who wouldn't want to come here after living such a life? So I have put everything on heart, literally put everything into, I would say, repressed memory, because now I am in the United States. It's time to live life. It's time to go back to school. It's time to have that freedom that you always hear about, the land of the free. So those who are listening to this story, who are from Liberia, who are from Somalia, who are either from Iran, you listen to all of the war that's going on around the world. There are children like me who their lives were robbed of their teenage years, their adolescent years into their toddlerhood, you name it. They would never get that back. So, and once you lose it, that's it. You always, your brain, your psyche always hungers for the missing pieces, the years, the gaps that were lapsed, that was stolen from you, not by choice, but those years were just literally, you were robbed of it. And I was. My siblings were friends and neighbors who some are gone. So the beautiful years in the US brought me into I would say, one that is full of joy, that is full of repressed memories again, one that is just full of the stereotypes. Counseling is not for our community. And if you go to counseling, you will say things that you'll regret. So we don't go to counseling. We're brave, we're strong, we can survive it. So none of us went to counseling. Almost, if any African go to counseling, very few. I don't want to speak for everyone. So fast forward, I am now married. I have a daughter. She is in the 5th grade. She's doing her assignment and she calls me to help her, like I did every evening before that age, before that year. Then I could not help her with this specific assignment because I just could not understand why I could not grasp the material. She was doing a science project and she was doing an experiment. She needed her mom to help her. I could not understand the concept. And I was dumbfounded. Like, I've never seen this before. How come I cannot help her? And then, she went to her dad. Dad started to help her. Then by evening time, it dawned on me that I never sat in 4th grade. I never sat in 5th grade. I never sat in 6th grade. I never sat in 7th grade. I was never in 8th grade. So I had no clue what those materials were. I could not help my daughter do her assignment. But because I had repressed my traumatic exposures from the war and never got counseling, it came, this was, I believe it was what was thought of earlier as the breaking moment, that time where everything just come to you. So then I remembered and I cried bitterly that I had, those years were stolen from me. Because by the time I got to the US at the age of 16 with a 3rd grade education, I had to sit in 9th grade. So that was one of my very first time. Looking back, I had to forgive myself because I felt guilty that I could not help my child do her homework. So I had to forgive myself. But before forgiving myself, I had to forgive those who did this to me, those who robbed me of my past. But that did not happen in that moment. The forgiveness did not happen then. The forgiveness actually just started happening a few years ago. But I had to set them free and then start to understand that it was not my fault that these things happened. It was not my fault that I lost those years. It was not my fault I could not help my daughter do her assignment. So this has really led me over the years, in the past 5 years, to start seeking what's my purpose in life, because it is not only to be a nurse, it is not only to work at a hospital, take care of patients, but what is it in life that I have found that I can also help others. And this is how Nurses in Charge was born. As a faith-based nonprofit organization that allows nurses to truly find their divine calling, get the help they need if they need it, right? And be totally have that authority in their professional lives, because we cannot help our patients, we cannot help society if we cannot help ourselves. So nurses in charge does a lot around that, where nurses are being strengthened again. Nurses who are going through burnout can understand, why am I burnt out? Why do I burn out easily as compared to my colleagues? Because we're all branded differently. We're all from different parts of the world, and we are all from different family backgrounds, community backgrounds, and because trauma can be personal, it can be environmental as well. So every environmental interactions that we've encountered, every exposures that we've encountered, makes us completely different from the other nurse and or midwives. So when we burn out, some nurses and midwives may burn out more rapidly as compared to others. So it is more a slow and gradual process for some, as compared to some of those nurses who they easily into line of traumatic impact. But we have to get to a point where, as much as we can give back to ourselves. And for me, I had to start forgiving myself for the things that I was incapable of achieving, and the things that I was incapable of doing for myself, the things that I was incapable of giving when I wanted to give of myself or give services. So I had to stop for a moment and come to a realization as to what is the root cause of all of these. So Ra, I say thank you for the opportunity, because every time I get on Trauma Talk, or while I'm preparing for Trauma Talk, it takes me back to pieces of my life that I've never gotten the chance to capture, analyze, and truly heal from those points of view. So thank you.
You're welcome. But doesn't it feel good?
Yes.
It feels good reflecting. It feels good going back there and go like, there's nothing I could have changed, because there's no way, there's no time machine, there's nothing where I am here standing right now is it. So when you go back there, you learn, you take it in, you forgive them and forgive you. You love you more. At that moment, you tell you, thank you. Thank you. Because if you didn't have that moment there, you wouldn't have been here. And to be here, to be able to go back there, absorb it, understand it, and decide to move forward for you. And that's what you did. You see, this is what I tell people. We may complain about something we may be missing at this point, but when it is that you come to realize what other people are going through right now, think about the Middle East, think about kids, think about all the people that doesn't even have water to drink, the simplest things that you take for granted. The air that you breathe that is going to be clear and good for you and healthy for you, there's some don't have that. There's some don't have a bed to sleep on. Someone might complain about sleeping on a cot while someone is sleeping on the floor or on the mud or on the side of the street. Be grateful, be thankful for what you have. Understand the blessings. Just as I said in the beginning, there once was a man who had the blues because he had no shoes. Down the street, he met a man who had no feet. So while he's complaining about walking barefoot, there's a man out there who don't have feet to put his shoes on. So Dr. Nimpu Kamu Hall, as I keep saying, give yourself a pat on the back. And thank you for always coming on your trauma talks and keep sharing. I think you started with me in 2024 was previous. We had a virtual conference. Then you came on the stage on Broadway. You were on Trauma Talk Thursdays. It's always a pleasure to hear your story. I'm sure the rest of beautiful ladies wants to ask you a question. So let me pop you on. I think Vi Ned went out. Dr. Vi, if you're there. Okay, she's not there. So you girls ask a question.
Nimpu, how has happened for all these struggles what you had in the beginning of your life? You still choose this profession where you see the struggles and hurts every single day.
So at the age of 9, when I was asking class, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be a nurse. I knew I wanted to become a nurse at the age of 9 because my mother is my inspiration. She has been a nurse now all my life, 45 years now. And so that did not change regardless of having the Civil War. Actually, the Civil War solidified my longing to become a nurse because nurses were highly needed during the Civil War. They were the one that was taking care of neighbors that were wounded. They were the one delivering babies in the homes because the hospitals weren't suitable for delivery. So my mother was intricate during that time, and I admired her even more. So yeah, nothing has changed my longing for nursing, and the higher I go into education, I pursue nursing higher. So yes, it's my calling.
You have a big heart. You have huge heart with love.
Y'all could keep asking her anything else you all want to ask. I'm trying to get Dr. Vi, okay?
The one thing that kept coming up for me as you were talking was just how deeply we're all impacted by different levels of mental health availability and the cultural norms that sometimes say we're not going to counseling or we have to remain strong. And I would just love to hear from you, like what we can do globally for the mental health field to make it more accepting or more welcoming, and what we can really do to extend beyond just the counseling world and really like find that comfort throughout all the multicultures that there are, find that comfort to like face the help that we could be receiving.
Well, Lindsay, thank you for that question. First of all, we need to make mental health care accessible. So when I needed mental health during my burnout and burnout situations, I did see a mental health provider, a psychologist, a psychologist who they did the entire assessment, but their office was too full. They never had a counselor for me. So if I had a counselor and then I can go to my community members and say, it really does help, it will resonate the reality of that. But most of the struggles that we're having in our communities, especially minority communities, is that mental health services are not that visible and accessible. And because it is expensive, and so affordability becomes issues, so then people just turn either to their religion, they turn to faith. And or turn to that traditional beliefs that you are a warrior, you are strong, you can do this, without telling somebody your problems. You have family, you have your God, you have. So for this reason, a lot of people that I know turn to God Almighty and get counseling that way, because the conventional means of counseling is inaffordable and it is not accessible. So why struggle doing that when you have to go to work, you have to take care of family? So when all of those things happen, it makes people to not believe in the system. But somebody need to benefit from the system, from the services, and then others will believe it.
Wow. So true. We have Dr.
It's
Vi
important
Nettis
to
joining us
seek help.
again. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Nimbu. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining and sharing on that panel. I want to do this right now, put everyone backstage, and we're supposed to have some extra speakers. Everyone, we had Tana Bergsmer. He been pulled out to a meeting for the UN. Tana is a 23-year-old, 2-time author. Tana has told his story on Trauma Behind the Glamour. He has been here in New York in person in our studio. He has been on Trauma Talk Thursdays. He's a TEDx speaker. He's an autistic, amazing, talented young man, and he really couldn't make it today, and we apologize. We also had Susie, who I'm telling you, I know she's burnt out from this week with this book launch that we're in, Art of Connection, 365 Days of Resilience, where we met so much amazing people. My amazing friend right here, Nina V. Gaza, is a sister on it. We are #1 international best-selling authors all together, and that book is a best-selling book, an international #1 bestseller, right, Nina? Am I right or wrong? Tell us a little bit
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your quote in the book and what inspired you when you wrote your quote and you actually spoke about resilience. Quickly, in a minute.
Resilience, it's sometimes it is not what we imagine. It is not when one brave man stays against a hurricane. It is not what one brave woman swims over ocean. It is something inside of you which help you hold yourself and your head high when it is practically impossible. And you show not only yourself, but you show your surrounding that you can, if you can, they can do too. It is cannot be underestimating that's influence. That we all different, right? When I was in my young age, when I just get into the managing positions, right? And I was saying, okay, I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
But it is not just that, because everybody is different. But you need to find that little road inside of you, still road, what we helping to hold us in other people as well. That's what amazed me always. That person comes and is shy and cannot open his mouth and sitting is very quietly. In one moment, it is blue like a beautiful rose or beautiful, I don't know, there are other different flowers like chrysanthemum or so. And the chrysanthemum actually it's a best comparison because it stays long and fresh for a long time. And keeping yourself, keeping your stairs, keeping this road inside of you and influence all others around you, that is real resilience.
Yes, that is so true. Wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. And thank you for, so the art of connection, Susie was up and down this week. And I know she's burnt out from that, so she couldn't join us. Nina, thank you so much for that. That really touched me in so many ways, and it actually makes you feel good with the changes that you make in your life, especially when you change your mindset, you practice what you preach, you understand the things that you say to others to help them. It's only the little bit that we could do, and actually it takes so much of us to come together, because it's not just like saying, oh yes, if I could do it, you could do it too. No, we want you to know that you could do it. We want you to know, if I can do it, you can do it. But you have to hear, listen. He didn't just snap his finger and say, oh, look at that. If you decide to become a real estate agent today, you are going to be a millionaire by tomorrow with the most commissions. Hell no, that's not happening. That's not going to happen. It's steps. The same way I started 7+ years ago, and I started climbing that ladder. I knew what I wanted, certain things, to be an author, to speak all over the world, to do all these different things. And I didn't even know I was going to start singing. I never even knew my singing journey would take me to the Grammys. I didn't even know you get what I'm saying? I didn't even know. But all I knew was I started the journey, and I continue stepping and learning, reflecting and understanding, as well as looking at where I can reflect, forgive, and keep moving forward, understanding this is what I want to share, and this is what I want to be around. If I want to be around your energy, it's because I want to be around your energy. If your energy has no respect for me, do not understand who I am, I do not want to be around you. Don't matter what it says about forgive yourself. Energies, people, energies. This is a big topic that Dr. Tash and I had to do on Wednesday, but she came and she got sick, and I'm so happy that she's feeling better, but she got sick. And we have this topic coming up, sharing of energies and being around the type of energy that you are around. You don't understand what it does to your life. As Nina is saying, they do this energy healing. She does energy cleansing. And the only way to do this purely from inside and for it to work for everyone is because she has to be clean inside herself. And you could hear it from her, how amazing she is. And Dr. Nimpu, hats off to you again for always doing this for me. And I love all of you, Lindsay, for taking the time, Dr. Vi, Dr. Ambassador, Dr. Monica Sanchez, Yvonne Chotzen, all of you that did this today on Forgive Yourself. Dr. Vi Ned, she's here ready to go. So I'll put everyone backstage as we do this. Some of the times that I do this, it don't matter how many times you may hear some of these stories that I hear, and we don't bring these things to trigger anyone or to put you in a place that you can't come up. We want you to know it's real. Life is real. Things happen every single day in each of your lives that connects with another person. If you think you're going through something bad and you're about to approach someone, think about your situation. When you say look in the mirror, think about your situation. Think about how you are right now. Think about how you're feeling right now. As you approach that person, relax.
If you carry a calmness towards another person who's going through something, maybe as chaotic as you take that calm with you. And that person starts calming down. They start feeling comfortable rather than you fight, rather than you hate, rather than you bicker. Trust me, mental health is huge. And you don't need to spread this. We need to put some water on the fire now. Let's all connect. Listen to the stories of others. These people have gone through it, is going through it, and will continue to go through it. Their resilience, their strength from where they were is what keeps them going further. And that is beyond amazing. So right about now, we have the amazing Dr. Vi Ned, who is an international best-selling author, a transformational speaker, a global health and wellness advocate with over 40 years of experience as a nutrition expert, mental health coach, and faith-driven leader. She empowers individuals and families to break generational cycles, embrace healing, and to step into lasting change. Ladies and gentlemen, my amazing Rastas, I give to you Dr. Vi Ned.
Hey. Thank you so much, Ra. And I must say, and thanks to all the speakers that preceded. Also, Ra, you look amazing. I haven't seen you for a couple of years, but you look amazing. You have to give me the secret to looking so refreshed. Okay. So Friday, August 28th, 2015, I was sound asleep. Actually, it was a sweet sleep, almost entering the REM sleep. And then I heard a loud noise, bang! I bumped my head, and it jerked me, and I thought, oh, it's an earthquake. And I started looking around, I was so scared. And then I heard, welcome to Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. The time is now 2:05 a.m. I've landed in Chicago. So I came to Chicago 10 years ago as a student. Nutrition and dietetics. How did all this happen? All my friends said, Vi, why you choose Chicago? I didn't choose Chicago. Chicago chose me. And the director of the school I attended, which is Dominican University in River Forest, she came to our country, Trinidad and Tobago, introduced the program, Nutrition and Dietetics, to the university I attended. And out of over 4,000 students, I was one of 2 students that was selected. Yes, you heard right, one of 2. Was it that I was a bright person? No. So I came here, I did my internship in nutrition and dietetics. But before coming to the US, I want you to understand the backstory. At age 16, I left high school and I didn't have any papers. I didn't have anything to show that I had a formal education, because our country, we were educated under the British system. And you had to have 5 O-levels in order to get what we say a good job, or anybody would say a government job, or here in Chicago, you said to work with the city. And I didn't have none of that. For years, everything passed me by. I would get letters for an interview the day after the interview. And it was always some sad story. And then one day, my friend and I, we went for an interview. I told her about it. about the job. We went for an interview. She was selected and I was pushed aside. And that went on for some years. And one day I got to a crossroad and I said, Vi, there has to be more in life than just this. What was happening? And I rose up and I said, you know what? I would go back to school, because in those days, you have to be in one of two categories. You either have to be rich or you have to be, as we say, bright, or they say smart. And I didn't fit any of those two portfolio, because I grew up in a family, people look at us as poor and ugly. My parents had 10 girls and 2 boys, and we were labeled early. Nobody liked us. They call us poor and ugly, and they push us aside. But I kept pushing. And I said to myself, okay, I'll go back to night school. So I started night school in 2000. And I kept studying, I kept going, and I kept going. Now, I didn't do math in for exam in high school because they took it away from me when I was entering Form 4 because they said I couldn't do it. So I wasn't smart in maths, okay? So after maybe around 20-something years, I had the challenge, I had to sit math. So I started night school. And I started night school with 2 school-age kids. One was 12, is my son, and my daughter, she was 5 years old. And I finished my job during the day, 8 to 4, and I would sit there because the night school was in the same, I was working in a school, the night school was in the same school. And I would wait until 6 o'clock. Well, my daughter was going to the school next door and my son was going to the same school. So they came, it's like coming home. Imagine I'm working and it's like the kids coming home, and I would make sure they have dinner, make sure they have their homework done. And then I go down to night school at 6 p.m. And that is 6 to 9. And then we had to take public transport to go home. And then when I get home, the cycle starts again. I have to try to get them to the bed early. And I would get preparation for the next day, breakfast, lunch, dinner for my family. I was married, have a husband and these 2 kids. And then do my assignments for the next day as well. So that went on for some years, about 4 years. I was in night school. And when I was in the class doing math, I decided, Vi, you don't have time to play now. Because remember I said I left school about 20 years ago. And I decided I have to give this my best. So I was in 4 different math classes at the same time. And I was paying for them because I was so determined I had to get this math. But in the class, the students in the class, most of them, they sat math 5 times, 6 times, 4 times, 3 times. And one guy looked at me and he said, how many times you did math? I said, I never did it. And he looked at me like, he already labeled me. You wouldn't make it. And I sat there and I was determined. So I'm saying to you, forget the self-talk. Don't let anything distract you. You be you. You do you. As a friend always say, you do you, boo. And when the result came out, guess what? I met him in the grocery one evening and he was so excited. He wanted to hear the sad story. And I gave him a success story. I say I passed the math. And he was so happy. He hugged me up. And he complimented me. And when I was finished now, I had my 6 subjects. Math, English, and science is like the STEM here in the US, the STEM subjects, and any other 2. And you can get a government job, you can go to the university and all of that. But that was not my card. I just wanted to know I get these subjects. And my friend in the school, she's a teacher. She said to me, what are you doing with those subjects? I said, nothing. I just happy I could get it because they told me I couldn't make it. And I got it. She introduced me to university. And I couldn't understand anything on the form more than I had to pay about $12,000 or something like that per semester. And I stuck the paper in my cupboard at work. And soon after that, things changed. And the government in my country started offering free tertiary education. That's what we say. The education system here in the US is different. We have primary, secondary, and tertiary. Tertiary is university. Primary is like what they would say elementary, and you would know the situation better than me, but it's from kids 5 to 12. And from 12 years, you sit an exam, 12 to around 16, 17, you go to secondary school. Here they consider high school and all of that. And so I signed up for university in 2006. And in 4 years, I completed my first degree. I did an overload of credit as a part-time student. I did 16 credits and we are supposed to do only 12. And the head of department called me in and I begged her, I said, please give me a chance. And I make sure and I studied so hard that course she was preventing me from doing, I passed it, I got an A, and she said, okay, you're lucky. But I don't believe in luck, right? I believe in purpose. And so I did an overload, so that is why I finished in 4 years. And success felt so good, I kept going. I was like the Energizer Bunny. I kept going and going and going. And at the end of it, I have 4 degrees, right? No, 5, sorry. 2 bachelors, 2 masters, and a PhD, okay? So why am I saying that? People look at me and think, well, I'm showing off or something. I am not. There was a struggle. I didn't get there like that. So I came here and I did my programs here and I graduated. And when I was to go back home, I packed my suitcase and everything to go back home because my time was up. And then I got an offer. The school called me and said, you know what? We have this new program called, it's the first time they were offering it, Masters in Nutrition. And they said, because you did the internship, you would only have to do about 6 credits or so. I said, okay, that sounds doable. I applied and I got through. And my friend, the other person who came, she applied and she was not accepted. So that's why I'm still here in the US. So I'm saying to someone today, never give up on your dream. Never give up. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what come your way. Always believe that you can do it. Because all those stories that was told to me, all the things I was hearing, and then I heard it so much that I began to believe those stories for myself as though it was my truth. I believed those stories that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't educated enough, and all the not enough stuff. I believed it. And what? It got me nowhere. Until I started to see the other side. You know, I think it was yesterday, this lady was saying to me, you know, when you look at the other side of the coin, then you would start to see a different view. And it's only when I began to change my mindset, then my life began to change forward. And now, I use my story to help those who are sitting in the trenches, like how I did, to help those who are sitting in a dark place. Because I was in a dark place, you know. I came from a dark place, and in that dark place, let me tell you what I saw down in that dark place. Physical abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, all those were the stuff down in that dark place where I was sitting. This is not a poor me story. This is a story of resilience. This is a story of fortitude. This is a story of plasticity. So I'm here to encourage someone. Sometimes people look at me and say, you just laugh too much, you just smile too much. So sometimes I don't know how to be, because 1 minute I'm told you're too serious, the next minute I'm told you're laughing too much. It's not a joke. But you know something? I remember the days when I cry myself to sleep. It was every night I would cry myself to sleep because I was in a dark place. So now I choose joy over sorrow. So don't be mad at me, please, when you see I'm smiling or laughing. There's so much negative energy around, as someone was talking about this morning. There's so much negative energy. But we were born into a world of negativity. Because here what? When you were born, what happened? We have a nurse here, Dr. Nympho. We have a nurse here, and she would know when the babies are born. Come on, you begin with abuse. House slap. You have to cry. Or else what? You didn't pass that Agar test, right? So we were born into negativity. And generally, life is, there's a downward negative pull. So every morning you get up, I'm saying to you now, you have to make a conscious decision that I would create a day of positive. You creating your own day. So when you look at all what is presented, because when I get up on mornings, everything is there, negative, problems, everything, hate, everything negative is there and everything positive is there. But you know what? I do my shopping. I said, I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose happiness. I'm going to choose gratitude. I'm going to choose love over hate. I'm going to choose pretty over ugly. Because there is so much negativity. And sometimes, as my mentor says, some people are so negative, you put them in a dark room and they will begin to develop. I remember just during the week here at my job, one of my coworkers was so mean to me. And I said to her, thank you so much for your kind words. And you know what? She almost fell to the floor laughing. So I diffused it right there because she was looking for a confrontation, to make me upset and sour. And I had a client waiting there for me. So I diffused that. So I'm just saying to you, there's negative, we are in a negative environment. But I'm saying to you, you choose and create your day. Okay? So I don't want to take any much more of your time. And this was not the story I was going to share, but somehow I was just diverted and I just wanted to be obedient and share that side of me. So another time you would hear the other story that I prepared. Thank you very much, Ra, for giving me this platform to share who I am.
So there's many times on this platform that you speak of, which branches into Trauma Talk Thursdays, Mental Health Bites, and different conferences. I have said I met a friend
who I supposed to take her story in 2019, but the pandemic hit. Then I had emergency back surgery. And one particular night, this stranger who speaks to me that I had never met, I was in so much of pain, and she called, and I told her I was in pain, and she says, Ra, let me pray for you. And I always say, accept genuine prayer from people. And this soul prayed for me using her positive energy, and my pain stopped. And I always tell this story, Vi. Now, Vi, another thing is, I have interviewed you in 2021. It's 2026.
Right, you're making me cry.
This is the truth. It's the
You're
truth.
making me cry.
Listen how proud I am of you. You wouldn't believe it. I talk about you all the time. In 2021, she finally gives me this interview. This dramatic interview, people all over saw this interview. Vi dropped down on the ground, showing me how she was crying in her own pity party, how she was there. And then now all of a sudden, I'm like, in my brain, I have to see all this because this is who Ra is. But while I'm doing that, I'm looking at this person in front of me, how strong she is. And I'm like, in my head, nah, she that couldn't be that woman she's telling me the story of. These are two different people. And from, guess what? We spoke about this March in 2023 was our very first mental health conference. And guess what? Dr. Vi Ned was one of them who shared her story, traveled from Chicago to New York City on that stage to share her story. These are the people that started me. They took a chance on me. They stepped up for me because they believed in themselves. And I always want to tell you, from then to now, you have grown. You have become Dr. Vi Ned. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. And listen to me, you are right. When you smile, don't let anybody take that away, darling. Just like I tell you when you're on that runway. When you're on that runway, I saw her. I host red carpet events with her. And let me tell you, when she's on that runway or she's on that red carpet, you better walk aside. My girl is shining. So everybody wants to ask you something. Let me bring them on.
I'm crying so much.
I love you. I love you. Trust me, I love you. And that's why I always believe in you. Lady?
Dr. V, I want to tell you a little story. One time I was walking on a pathway with asphalt under and thinking about something. I don't remember what it is. And my side was, I saw the flower practically in the middle of this pathway. It's a breaked asphalt in Venti flower. It was daffodil. Beautiful, beautiful. It is aroma. It was just like everywhere, like you have bunch of these flowers. But I was staying and looking at it and the nature. How resilient this little flower breaking this hard asphalt. This is flower remind me you in your life.
Oh. Thank you.
Lindsay, you don't want to ask something or comment?
I'm just so blown away by what Dr. V had to say, and I immediately went over on my Instagram as she was talking and followed her because I want to keep going along with her story. And the thing that really stood out to me was how you're born and you're whapped, and it's like, "Get ready to cry." It really stood out to me. It's like, how many times do we need to be whapped and asked to cry? Like, I'm done being whapped and cried. That just really stood out as to how many trials and tribulations we could face, but in those moments of facing them, it's like, what are you gonna choose to do? And I love how you just kept saying, "Well, I'm gonna choose to meet you where you're at and challenge you with a little bit of positivity." And that was just like, it stood out to me. I was doodling while you were talking, and I had made like these little lines that weren't fully connected, and in the middle of both of them, I just wrote down "break free." And that's just what really stood out to me when you were speaking, is just that message of you can break free from all of that and just move forward, and like what Nina said, grow in the middle of hard concrete, and it just bring more beauty to the world. So it was just an amazing time to listen to.
Yes, and the success never comes when you are in a dark, when you are cry. Success comes when you are in joy. You are make yourself to be joyful. You choose this path. This is will lead you to success. I believe, strongly believe that.
Wow. And you know what's so nice? I'm always telling her how much I believe in her and what she do and everything and the purpose she's here for. So today you have Lindsay just tell you while you're doing your talk, while she's listening to you and she's connecting with you. She went onto your Instagram to follow you because she wants to follow you because your guidance, your story, who you are is important and she needs you too because you'll connect. Thank you for what you do. Ra honestly loves you. And I want you to do not quit now. After this, I want you to take this and run. You got this. Dr. Nimpu, anything you want to add?
Absolutely. I want to add something. I and I connected a while ago, and then it's been a while. But every time I hear her voice, every time I hear her story, it reminds me of myself. It reminds me of my, people within my African community who they've been told that, you're too old to be in school. You're too old to, the time has passed. Your time is up. But the fact that Dr. Vi, you went to challenge the math to prove she wasn't even seeking a degree or anything. She just said, I'm going to pass this math, When you're told that you cannot amount to something and you challenge that is fear, taking, overriding fear with courage. And to me, that speaks a lot about a person who says, this will not defeat me, I will defeat it. So thank you so much. And your message goes deep. Your message goes deep because you came from nothing, no education, to 5 degrees. There's no excuse for those who have everything in their they have everything available to them. They don't have to pay for their own education. So you spoke to me, you spoke to a lot of people who will watch this later on, who are feeling defeated or hearing, negativity in their world, and they'll say, she did it, I can do it. Thank you so much. Your strength will always be on you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. It all comes together. See about forgiving yourself, forgive yourself, how it all came together. Everyone had a journey. Everyone reflected. Everyone had a place where they stopped to heal. Don't matter what you take upon yourself to help heal. But while you heal, forgive and change and move forward with time. Because as Ross says, your moment starts building. So when a person starts doing positivity, it's one of the hardest things to spread. But guess what? Little by little, it expands. It was not your time, as I said. Time never waits on anyone. It keeps ticking. But your moment keep expanding like Dr. Vi. Her moment keeps building until that, and it slaps you. It's not luck. It's not a miracle. It's meant for you. What is meant for you shall never pass you by. And what passes you by was never meant for you. This conference happened exactly how it should have happened. Beautifully, the right amount of stories, every single person who needed to be here today to share their stories, for us to connect with each other on this spiritual and motivational healing journey that we all share, letting others know you are not alone. I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart to all of you for taking your time and being here. You all could share any last things, especially where people can find you all. Dr.
So,
Vi?
Ra,
Yes.
so before I say something else, I wanted to say and add another piece to this story as well. So
Sure.
when I came here in 2015, I was working with let's say with the government of my country, Trinidad and Tobago, with the Ministry of Health, where I would go to a different health center and share healthy living with the community every day. And when I was coming here, they were to sponsor me. Sponsoring me mean pay my school fee, pay my rent, and living expenses. And 1 month after I arrived in the US, the government changed and they said, "We're not sponsoring you." So I was here on my own. I was renting an apartment, $675 a month. Now, as an international student, you cannot work in the US. You can only work on campus after 1 year in the university, and they give 10 hours at $10 per hour, right? So where I was staying, the lady put me out. So I was homeless. I'm serious, you know. And it cost me over $200 and something thousand, you know, to pay for my education and all of that, you know. And you would say, how did you make it? I really don't know. But you know what? I give glory and honor to a higher power, which is God, the Father Almighty, Jesus Christ, you know, for being there with me and for making a way for me where there seemed to be no way. And I remember, I must share this part of the story as well. While I was going to school, there was a Muslim girl from Syria. We were all together. You know, when you're in a new class or in any new group, somehow you just end up in a group. So we all end up together. And she had a hijab she would wear and all of that. And I usually talk with every person. And she was living close to where I was living. We didn't know that. And eventually we just kind of stayed together. And she was the one. This is a Muslim girl. She called me and she said, Vi, you are my sister and I love you. And she was staying by someone. And she asked the person and she took me in. So I didn't have to end up on the street. So I'm saying, you know, we must be open-minded and open heart in life because we don't know where our blessing lies. And had it been that I would say that, you know, I don't want to be any part of a life because I'm a born-again Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I look forward to the coming of the Lord. So I didn't discriminate, you know, I'm open to whoever. And I thank God for what God is doing. And I'm saying, you know, we must all be open because we don't know where our blessing lies, you know, and that is just, she was just such a great blessing in my life. And because God used her, we don't know who God would use to bless us, okay? And you can reach me on social media, but you would my name would be Dr. Vi Ned Jackman, because I didn't change my name there. It's so much problem changing and changing, because I was Vi Ned Jackman and I dropped Jackman, but my social media still remain with Ned Jackman as my last name.
All right, Lindsay.
I usually hang out over on Instagram at the_balanced_bureau. You can find all of my other links to socials in my link in bio. It's called a milkshake. It has the link to my podcast and all the other social platforms that I'm on there. So I'd love to connect. That's one of my favorite things to do, is connect with people who want to have those conversations and move forward in positivity.
I didn't hear it. Can you give it again? I didn't hear it. Let me write it.
It's at the end of the
name, yeah.
The name right here too on the screen. Because it's kind of a little bit long and hard to say to everybody, but
Oh, okay. I seen it now.
Balanced
I
Hero.
seen it now. Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
What you all could do is type it and comment, and in the comments, just type there and put it in, and we will be able to show it on screen. So you will get Lindsay at the_balanced_brewer, and then you will find Dr. Vi Ned Jackman. You would find Nina V. Garza, exactly how her name is, NINAVGRZA, as well as Dr. Nimpu Kamu Hall. That's what you are on Facebook and Instagram, right? No, Nurses in Charge on Instagram. Nurses in Charge on Instagram. So this is everyone, and you know this is Mr. Trauma Talks, MR Trauma Talk. And as Vi said, I just didn't become Mr. Trauma Talks. I was actually called Mr. Trauma Talks after doing this for 7 years, 8 months. And we bring trauma, not drama. We don't bring unnecessary stress in people's lives. We try, we move forward with our own lives as we go forward, helping you to understand you are not alone. Thank you, everyone, for coming here today. Thank you, Dr. Tash in the hospital looking on. Thank you for all my rasters, for believing in us, for understanding the safe place we have put for you all. And as normal, we call out someone who is going to be heard on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, all over where our podcast is. Judith Narayan, who was watching, she loved it. Great topic on forgive yourself as well. You all know we share love on this platform, share positivity. Until next time, April 25th, our next conference right here called Acceptance. Every one of you, we want to tell you we love you, goodbye, and have a great, great weekend and month ahead.